Welcome to day 2 of Xy'mox's Charity Cash. I'm Dratnos, joined by Krista, Makes, Tettles, Xyronic, and Nagura, and we are here for the second day of a raid race between two of World of Warcraft's best raiding guilds, all for a good cause. Both guilds raising money for charity each of the times they make it through some of the bosses. Zyra, what did you think about yesterday?
Yesterday was great. It was fun to watch. The curse tactics that we had coming in was kind of fun to watch the teams play around with. Of course, Echo decided to take it a little bit further and full screen, home screens, no UI, first person Castle Nathria, even though they didn't really have to, but made it work out. And both teams raised 50,000 for charity yesterday, and we have another 50,000 today too. So, see how today goes.
Yeah, we are playing on powered up versions of the raids. We have 2 faded powers active on every single boss. Krista, how do you think it went with the guilds with the 2 powers? Was that something that you think was good for them or bad for them? How'd that all go?
I think the beaters kind of tell you for themselves. On the fights where you can actually get the full value or majority of the value of the affixes, they were just pumping out absurd numbers, and it was definitely helpful. But when you get to more spicy ones like Stone Legion, I don't know. I feel like that probably might have made it harder.
Yeah, you are, of course, all going to be able to try this from home starting next week on the live servers. If you want, you can put a second faded power on each of the bosses. The guilds in this race, though, can add a 3rd and 4th faded power to some of the bosses' Tettles with our lifeline system. How did that go yesterday?
I think the lifeline system, it ended up promoting using the lifeline super early on the easier bosses that you're not going to get super punished on. Any bosses with really heavy coordination, it could become a challenge. I mean, we saw on Stone Legion Generals, Liquid yesterday elected to use their lifeline on Stone Legion, and that became a problem. We talked to THD a little bit at the end, though, and he said that their general plan is any boss that doesn't have moats on it, they're looking to use a lifeline on that kind of boss in particular to allow them to kill the boss a little bit faster, because it does provide an amp for power. So there is difference in decision making in regards to the meta game on how to use the lifelines.
Now, Make, scattered throughout the raid, we have these checkpoints where the guild that reaches it first gets some more money for their charity, but also they get the faded curse based on how well one of their chosen champions does in a little quiz. What did you think of that system yesterday, and did you like seeing the curses we gave them yesterday?
You know, I'm always here to make the life of our players just a tiny bit harder. I think the curses are a great system. I think it's super fun that we're quizzing them, and depending on how well they do, the curse gets worse. I think Roger showed us yesterday that these questions are actually not that easy. So yeah, I'm excited for today. We have some fun curses coming up.
Yeah, we won't spoil them, but yesterday we had people zooming into first-person mode. Yeah, there was the tunnel vision. We have some, I think, even nastier ones today, and I don't know, the difference between Sepulcher, the first ones, which is today's raid, and Castle Nathria, which is yesterday. Nagura, do you think that this might be a nastier raid just in general as well?
I think so, for sure. I definitely, from playing on live servers, playing both Castle Nathria Fated and Sepulcher Fated, I do think that Sepulcher is a little bit harder in comparison. So we'll see what the curses are today, but it definitely might make some of those bosses incredibly hard for the 2 teams, especially with the low item level, right? They're all scaled to 280 compared to the higher item level we have currently on live server.
I'm really interested to see what the second wing is going to entail, because it's Halandris and Anduin with some pretty spicy faded powers. That could cause some problems.
Yeah, yesterday we did see Echo ending up making it first to all the checkpoints and being the first to kill Sire Denathrius, of course, raising money for their charity, Direct Relief. A charity that we didn't have too much time to talk to about yesterday because we were zooming through so quickly, but now we do have a short video introducing them.
The divisions in the world are stark. Recent years have shown some of the largest natural disasters ever in history. And that really hits hardest the people who had the least to begin with. These people need help. It would be a real tragedy if all of these advances in science and health and technology only benefit people in a position to pay for them. There should be no lesser standard if you happen to be poor. These problems can be overcome.
That was Direct Relief that Echo raised $32,500 for yesterday through slaying bosses about as well as could be expected. There were a couple wipes there for Echo, but they were really destroying some of them. And some of those early bosses titles were like 1 minute speed kills.
I mean, this kind of, it's the lifeline situation where if you just add more fated powers, even though the teams are scaled down to that like 280 item level, if you have 4 powers or even just with the double fated powers, you're able to kill some of these bosses off very quick. And of course, if your guild's of this caliber, it happens very fast.
Yeah, we've seen teams even dropping the number of healers. Somehow they've been able to get through with like 1 or 2 healers. Krista, is that something you expect to see again today? Lower numbers of healers maybe on the first few bosses?
I would think so on the first few bosses, because I mean, both guilds have obviously shown that their healers can multi-spec and go DPS anyway, and every healer always wants to drop the other ones so they can get, bigger numbers. So I think we would, especially in the earlier bosses. For the later ones, I'm not so sure, because some of them are kind of needed for specific mechanics and like the separation of them on Anduin, for example. So I think we'll see.
Yeah, so the other team that we are having here, US First, Team Liquid, are raising money for the AbleGamers charity. Yesterday they were able to raise $17,500 for them, but we have another little video here to introduce that charity as well.
It's hard to talk about the AbleGamers charity and not mention the tremendous work done through the Expansion Pack program. Expansion Packs are our initiative to give hospitals and assisted living facilities accessible game rooms equipped with accessible controllers, consoles, PCs, games, and toys to make the ultimate game room that's accessible to everyone. And AbleGamers doesn't just supply the equipment, but sets it all up, trains the staff, and works with the hospital to keep the gaming equipment as up-to-date as possible when new generations of technology arise. September saw the installation of a brand new expansion pack at the UPMC Rehabilitation Institute at UPMC Mercy in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The technology provided was specifically chosen for players with limited mobility in mind. And AbleGamers will also consult with UPMC patients to design customized gaming equipment for when they return home from the hospital. The UPMC Rehabilitation Institute is thrilled to partner with AbleGamers, said Randall Huzenek, a senior physical therapist at the hospital. It opens up opportunities that would have been lost for our patients who are new to gaming or those that have been gamers regardless of age. Gaming improves the overall spirit and health of our patients. It's not about the game, but the community and the interactions that come with gaming, he went on to say. This is just one of the many examples of how AbleGamers works with hospitals and assisted living facilities to provide free packages of assistive gaming technologies as a way to make sure anyone who wants to play games can, including those with physical disabilities. Because we believe that gaming is for everyone, so everyone can game.
That was AbleGamers, the charity that Team Liquid are supporting for this event. Now, Xy'ro, as a former Team Liquid, or former raider with the guild, what can we expect out of them if we see them making their way first to a checkpoint, sending some of their players to answer some of our quiz questions? Do you have any insight as to the sorts of conversations we might have with those players?
I would expect a very trolly conversation, regardless of who the person coming on is. I would actually hope they don't send THD, because he seemed pretty knowledgeable yesterday. Like, he was very confident about his Sludge Fist wipe counter, which was the right answer, so that wouldn't be fun if they brought him on. We want to bring, like, Fired Up on or Sang on, because I think that'd be more entertaining.
Yeah, I've seen a clip of Fired Up claiming that he will cheat if he gets on to try and answer the questions.
What?
We have our...
For charity! Come on!
We have our lawyers
right.
investigating if that's ethical or not, because it is for charity, so...
Well, what kind of cheating would be involved here?
That's unclear to me exactly what he meant. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get to see them sending somebody forward, answering some questions, and deciding just how bad one of those curses will be.
We're gonna get an arbiter ruling if somebody's cheating.
We're just gonna make the whole team suffer under the curse.
I mean, we could do that. It's a charity event. We could do whatever we want. We do have the players set to 280 item level again, same as yesterday. So these bosses, that feels like a pretty low item level, but with the combination of the Fated powers, they're actually able to get quite a lot of damage, so we're going to have to see how it goes on the early bosses. I think, though, that once we start getting to Anduin, Halandras, Lords of Dread, Rygalon, the Jailer in particular, these are going to be some bosses that might actually pose a serious threat to the guild, so curious what you guys think about how that's going to work out, especially with these Fated powers that we are putting on the bosses. Anything jump out here to anyone in particular? Any of these combinations look especially good or bad?
I think Jailer with Creation Spark and Reconfig-Emitter is actually very, very dangerous. So we saw teams wipe to Denathrius a couple of times yesterday, and that is arguably an easier boss that had easier powers on it. Creation Spark just in general on Jailer is really annoying, and then if you get the Reconfiguration Emitter spawn far, you have to be calling it out that it needs to be gripped in like immediately before you start to like interrupt it and stuff like that. Otherwise, it may end up going off on like the far side of the room.
Yeah, and it also looks like I personally think one of the best Fated powers is the Chaotic Essence, because it really, really buffs up your damage. Whenever they come out, you can just nuke them all down. But it looks like a lot of the more difficult bosses don't actually have Chaotic Essence on them. So I wonder if they want to use their lifelines on those bosses. But then at the same time, if you use the lifeline on something like Anduin, then there's so many other things they already have to micromanage on that boss that having additional affixes might make it even harder. So I don't know how they're gonna handle that.
Also,
yeah, I wonder...
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, also, aside from Creation Spark in general just being a bit dangerous, I do know that we've actually talked about in the past Protoform Barrier. Sometimes when it puts, like, a barrier on, like, ads, for example, the Rygalon, the stars that are moving in, sometimes you might not be able to kill them when you want, and you can kind of see the same thing maybe happen on Stone Legion, where if you're getting barriers on the ads and you aren't killing them exactly when you want to, it can cause a lot of issues. So normally I feel like that's, like, a non-mechanic, but on very specific bosses, it can be a pretty deadly combo.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, it does seem like we've given the chaotic essence to the bosses that you'd kind of want to use your lifelines on already, so it's going to be interesting to see where they decide to use this, because, I mean, could you do it on, like, Anduin? Could you send your lifeline on Anduin and then, blast through the first intermission, get the boss down low enough that you don't have to do phase 2?
I think
Maybe.
It's definitely Anduin. I think the other one that you probably do is definitely Jailer, because it doesn't have Chaotic Essence, but I don't know if you guys have tried Jailer this week, right? Phase 3 and Phase 4 last all of like 30 seconds combined with that affix. Because you get your damage buff from the boss, you get your 40-second emotes, and the boss dies.
Yeah, because you'd be adding the barrier and the modes to Jailer, and those are kind of the ones that, like, the Jailer sounds hard enough already with Creation Spark and Reconfiguration Emitter, but you can't get rid of them, right? So you may as well lifeline in the two other ones. Yeah, I
think I agree. Because if it was different, right, if you maybe had Chaotic Essence plus some other Fated power on Jailer, you maybe think, okay, we should maybe add Creation Spark, because Creation Spark can make the boss a bit harder, because your bombs go down quicker. But there we go, we're already in the game for both of those teams, fighting Artificer Xy'mox as the first boss in the first checkpoint as well. And looking at the comps, we still see a lot of druids for Liquid, right?
They just
really
love the
counting
druids. But yeah, no Fated lifelines being activated on that first boss here. We did see Echo commit both of their lifelines right away yesterday, but it seemed like teams are just so happy to have the Chaotic Essence here, like Brightness was just saying, that they didn't want to use the lifeline on this boss.
Yeah, I think I might have actually been a little wrong about this, because I kind of agree with, like, Tuttle's general take, which is, like, I feel like they're going to use it on the easier bosses. Maybe he also wasn't including Xy'mox in this one, but just for, like, extra safety, even though it might not be the most, like, min-max efficient, I kind of felt like all the easier bosses you'd see him just send it to kill him as fast as possible. Ideally, just to kind of, like, save time.
Oh, Velo already going down for Echo. They immediately used that battle rest, but now there's none left. You can see how much AoE damage they're actually taking in this intermission phase. Quite scary on everyone here. But it looks like they've recovered both of the teams. Of course, we also have other rules that we didn't mention before yet. So that the items are scaled to 280 for everyone. but they're also not allowed to play more than two of the same damage dealer specs. So you cannot play 3 Demo Warlocks, for example, but you're allowed to play 2 Demo and 1 Destro. And for the healers and for the tanks, they're only allowed to play 1 spec.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And additionally, they are not allowed to do any swaps unless there's like an egregious error, like huge internet issues or disconnects. So everyone that you see here, just like yesterday, is who you should be seeing throughout the rest of the raid.
And I still feel like the druids on the side of Liquid might be the reason, or that might be the reason why they're bringing them, because the druids can respec to rest a druid. But we already have Nick, so I don't know how this is going to work out for them. But both teams are making their way through Artificer. It is taking them a little bit due to that level squish you just mentioned, Agora. So 280, even though these bosses have been nerfed again and again and again, not too easy of a task. And Scares actually goes down here for Echo.
And they don't have a battle rest for another 2 minutes, so they're gonna have to play this boss with 19 people for now. And it also looks like, 2 people going down for Liquid here, and they're dropping really low as that second intermission just started. It's doing so much damage. We see one of the healers being potted as well, and 3 people now dead for Echo too. Now a lot of those, like both of the guilds actually only play 3 healers, so the damage incoming is really difficult for those healers to make sure everyone stays alive. Not sure if Liquid can continue with so many dead players.
Oh no! What is happening? 5 dead players on the side of Liquid,
Oh, no.
3 dead players on the side of Echo, and people are still dropping. It's a full wipe for Liquid. They have to try this again. And Echo's still holding on, trying to get through here. They are in another intermission here that they need to fight off before they can continue damaging the boss. And it seems like they've stabilized, but this boss damage that is coming out onto the group is no joke.
Yeah, it's definitely not, but the good thing about Xy'mox is he's like deceptively easy when his health bar gets lower, because after you get past the 3 phases of everybody coming back from the platforms, he doesn't really do too much. You just have to make sure that you avoid the rings, and after that, everything is pretty smooth sailing, so this is, in my opinion, still pretty doable as long as nothing seriously bad happens.
Yeah, they're now on the 3rd platform. You can see the gateway has been set up, and the melee team did jump over. We'll see if they manage to do it. Swag actually proccing his pot on the platform, and everyone else dropping really low as well. You can see the warriors being really low, so they might not actually be able to finish off the platform. And if they don't, that means that they will be wiping up, but it looks like they managed just in time there at the very end.
Oh, one more skip through these circles here, and everybody's taking so much damage, but that was the very scary moment that they needed to handle. They're gonna go through one more time here, and it's looking like they can make it. People are still dropping, Kanix going down, but they are enough to finish off this boss. If you remember from your own progression, you could kill this boss towards the end with only 5 people alive. It just took a very long time, and right now there's still a lot of people, well, standing or being in pods for Echo that should possibly come back here. But wow, they're taking so much damage.
Yeah, looking...
Sure, they can maybe do it. They have 1 healer dead, but you can see just how much damage they're taking. Oh my god, that was the tank explosion. Miras is actually dead. They have to rest the tank back up, but it looks like someone else accepted the rest. So they didn't get the rest on Miras. That means Roger is now solo tanking this boss with only 2 healers alive, and a lot less of their damage healers than they had at the start as well.
Yeah, it looks like they're slowly taking out and losing more and more people. This is definitely one of the times that you don't want to wipe, because committing to this after having a few dead kind of near the middle of the fight will definitely be a lot of waste of time.
You're gonna wipe here for sure, because it looks like the portals have not been placed the way you want to place them. So they're not gonna be able to dodge these rings unless they use something like Blink or Door of Shadows. So I do think that people might be going down, unless they have some people who can maybe immune the rings and then just finish off the boss, but Yeah, the position of the portals is
You
not
just need to
ideal.
run. It works. You just need to run a lot. And with so little people alive, that is going to be really tough because they don't get boss uptime anymore. And you can see the group is just slowly but surely bleeding away. There's only 3 people standing, more or less. And now Roger's also going down. No tanks available anymore. And it's a go next. Now, Liquid is already on that task. And you can see that it's not actually as easy for them either. Once again, 6 people down, 7 people down. A lot is going on here in this fight. 2 of them being healers. They decide to do this one more time.
A lot of these issues, it definitely looks like it's a bit of a creation spark issue. I know that over half of Echo's roster was dead, but just at the end there, one of the creation sparks landed and it wasn't soaked. We saw that earlier in one of the point of views as well, as the rings were coming in and converging. A creation spark was spawned at a really unlucky spot, exactly as one of the rings was going over it. So you have to really hope that they're dispelling at like an ideal time. But this is... as we mentioned earlier, it's definitely one of the harder affixes to deal with, and we saw a couple issues with it already on just these first 2 polls.
Yeah, I think the creation spark also, like the debuff itself that you have on you, that increases arcane damage taken, right? If I'm not mistaken. And I think this boss actually does quite a bit of arcane damage with the dot that is ramping up. I'm not sure if it's arcane or something else, but that might also cause some of the issues as well. And as you're saying, not being able to soak, because if you're doing the rings, if you have to dodge the rings, and you have to spread out because of the sparks, then it might be difficult for them to actually soak the actual puddles from the fated affix and the creation spark. So yeah, definitely not easy for these guilds right now. And maybe... Do you think it might fix something if they add another healer? Because both of the teams only play with 3.
See, I was thinking that because they definitely have the option to do that, I think. Liquid is on 4 healers and so is Echo. So like you're saying, both of these teams going for that a little bit of extra healing, seeing that they are taking so much ticking damage in these intermissions. It's just they need that extra throughput healing from a 4th healer. I think that's definitely the right play here. And of course, I mean, you know you're getting squished to 280 item level, but you don't know how exactly that translates in a fight like Xy'mox, and Xy'mox is so heavily dependent on when you push it that it could really change a lot, like the general fight. So that's what they're currently figuring out, and I think it's reasonable that this isn't the easiest boss with that item level squish.
Yeah, additionally, just with adding the extra healer, this boss's like DPS check overall actually isn't too tight. So purely for safety, even if you're losing out on that DPS, it may make it a bit harder to push at the times you want to. But this boss's overall DPS check is not that high, and I remember during Prague, there was a bit of concern about that, but it was mostly just dealing with the mechanics and making sure everybody's movement was on point. So yeah, it's clearly a good decision because both of them have done it at the same time after 1 or 2 pulls. So hopefully we'll see what the difference is. It looks like everybody's health bars are generally looking much higher and safer. So we'll see how this plays out.
Less anxiety.
It's very hard for me to say though, because if there's one thing that healers do not like hearing, it's let's add another healer. So.
I'm sure they were fine here, since this is, tournament realm, no locks to be cheesed, nothing to be had. They are making their way through the second platform side by side, currently Echo and Liquid on the first boss of today. 1 person dead on the side of Liquid. They do have that battle rest, but do they want to commit it, or do they just want to save it? They do send it out back to 20 people alive for both of the teams.
Unfortunate that they had to use a battle rest already, because if a tank or a healer dies later on, there won't be a rest available for another 2 minutes. But the warriors, pretty important still, because they might have to go to the platforms, right, and deal with that. Now Echo is in that second intermission, and that's usually where we see a lot of incoming damage as well. And earlier we saw one of the teams actually wipe to the intermission because they didn't have enough damage to finish off the acolytes before they finished off their cast. This Hyperlight Ascension, you can see it being casted for Echo here. Let's see if they can finish it off. It's actually a bit close, it looks like. There we go. As so much damage is coming out onto the group. Oh my god, look how low they're dropping. Wow.
Yeah, it looks like there's... Oh, they just dispelled the Creation Spark. It looks like they were holding it for a while after they got out of that intermission, which makes perfect sense because there's not much going on here, and it's just before you send people over to this platform. So, looks like they got their timings down for the Creation Spark dispels as well.
I am so scared of what is yet to come. 2 people down for Echo in the Bloodlust. Make that 3-1 Battle Rest available. Sol now also dropping lower and lower, is able to come back to health. But Salta getting taken out here by another Laser Wolsko, and Lorgarks are trying to fight for their life here. But Echo is slowly but surely losing players on this field here. They do have 1 Battle Rest now being committed, another one coming up in 7 seconds. But that's definitely not how you want it to have this happen here.
Yeah, I think what happened was that they actually salvaged that pretty nicely for Echo, because I think the people that went down were actually people on the platform. So we saw, I think, 2 Moonkins and 1 more player actually jump over to the platform to make sure they can finish off the mobs there, to make sure they're not wiping. But Liquid having even more issues on their side, as they actually have a full team wipe. So they have to go again. Now for Echo though, it's looking quite a bit better because they have all of the platforms done. They are at this finish line, and we talked about this earlier. This end of the boss fight is quite a bit easier, so they should be able to finish this with the 4 players. That's still, as long as they play their rings correctly and put the portals in the correct spot.
After just watching this, which is obviously the first boss that we are seeing, it feels so weird that there were even talks to begin with about maybe we should lower the eye level more with how quickly both the guilds are just destroying Castle Nathria.
True.
See, the thing is, they heard us talking about lowering the item level further, and they were like, nah, we're gonna have a harder time, okay? We're gonna make this a show, you guys. Just wait. Don't level it further down. So, yeah, definitely on purpose here from the guild, having a little bit of a struggly time on Artificer, our first boss of today. But Echo now on the final stretch of this boss fight, 10% to go. Only 4 people dead. They do have a battle rest if they want to commit it. Looking really, really, really good here.
Yeah, I think they should be able to finish this. We see at Orb being casted there by Wolf Disco, so that means there's going to be some more cooldowns being used by the Demo Warlocks. The boss should be going down shortly. Yeah, I mean, what a boss. That actually seemed incredibly difficult for Echo and Liquid here. As Liquid, of course, still has to kill a boss. They had wiped again, but Echo is now able to move on. And of course, they also have a teleporter available, so they don't have to deal with the trash in between the boss fights, unless there's trash that actually summons the boss, and they have to deal with it. But there's no trash for Yuvim, so they can just go into the boss fight straight away.
Do you know how they nerfed Lehuvim and you could basically ignore the alignment mechanic and just all stack in one place? They will not be able to do that with 280 item levels, so they need to play that mechanic again, and that's actually making this fight a lot harder. I'm very curious how this plays out.
Yeah, that's
actually also do 2 camps, right? Like ranged and melee split. We'll see how
if they can survive that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's actually a really good point. I think we wouldn't see the full 5 like we saw on Prague, but I also don't think we'd see a single stack. I agree that it would probably just be a melee range stack, but really interested to see what they do here.
They also activated the lifeline here, so that means they have all 4 fated affixes activated on Lehuvim for Echo. A very interesting boss to activate the lifelines on, in my opinion, because there's definitely phases where, like this intermission phase, for example, where you have to finish off. Oh, it looks like they're finishing off 2. Ooh, so that's a very smart decision. So they ended up killing 2 of the prototype schematics here, which means they have to deal with less ads now. And they also had the extra damage, and they lasted on pool. So definitely a very different strategy than what we've seen on live servers nowadays.
I'm just looking at Liquid trying to catch up here. They have another platform that they need to chew through here. That was a platform that gave Echo a lot of trouble when we just saw them kill this boss, and Liquid really needs to try and catch up here. Yesterday, they took a little bit of an L with Echo getting all of those checkpoints in one sweep, so they definitely want to come back stronger here today.
To be fair, Liquid is playing a little bit on hard mode right now because they have 4 Druids, which is the only class in the game that has 4 specs. It is the hardest class to play, and they have 4 of them in their raid, so it's incredibly impressive right now. But Poe looking good so far.
Great. It's definitely looking better than before, but the thing that has been wiping them the most was that second intermission and the third platform. We saw actually Echo was using Bloodlust for the third platform. Like immediately after the second intermission, they just lusted to make the platform easier and to have more damage on the boss. So we'll see where Liquid uses theirs, as Twisted actually goes down and they don't have a rest for it. And we see an Angel as well being procced by the healer, so that means they have 2 healers down without the battle rest available, which might cause another wipe for Liquid here, possibly.
That's so much damage
they're
going out.
wiping
On
it.
the other side, we have Echo, who have used their lifeline on Lehuvim. Now, 4 people were down. We did see a quick Ankh being used, and one of the battle rests is also being used as well here, so it was 5 in total. And we can see the damage coming in here from these alignments, and that was actually pretty fine from what I could tell there.
Oh yeah, the damage that can come out from the Chaotic Essence, especially combined with ads that are out at the same time, it will do a lot to your raid, and I think that's where we saw that we lost some people, but this is still definitely pretty doable for Liquid, for Lehuvim, as the boss is only at 22%.
Oh, look at the damage!
So much damage coming into the group here.
Notably,
They don't have too many healers alive anymore, right?
Yeah.
Just have
They
3
have 2
seeds.
only.
they played with 3 healers going into this, trying to go back to many DPS here, but it seems like that cannot be the play. Maybe today they need to stay on that 4 healer trend that we did see them do for Artificer as well. Liquid now readying up to do one more pull on said Artificer.
Wow, so yeah, this is very interesting, right? Because we're still doing the quote-unquote easy bosses right now. We haven't reached the later bosses just yet, and the teams are already struggling here. So we'll see how it goes later on bosses like Anduin, Jailer, Halandris, right? We'll see. But yeah, this is definitely causing a lot of issues here for Liquid on Xy'mox. Let's see if they changed anything else. Okay, they're still running 4 healers, and I don't think they necessarily changed anything with their comp, but they might have reassigned their defensive cooldowns, their healer cooldowns, and maybe also the people that they send to the platforms. I'm sure they're adjusting things on each wipe, because of course they're really good at doing that stuff, right? They're really good at progressing and figuring things out and solving issues. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be adjusting things as they go.
Yeah, 100%. Now Echo is back on their second try on Lehuvim. Now I just want to look a little bit more on what's going on there. They continue to play with 3 healers, and they continue to lust right away here as these chaotic modes come on up. And now it's the first workshop phase here, and that one is usually okay to handle. It's the second one that hurts lots, but the first one looked good here. They finish it up quickly, can come back to the boss and play another round before they have to go into the one that, well, basically wiped them the last time.
Yeah, even with how quickly they get the ads down, like at the side of the room, it just also makes it so, like a lot easier for the healers as well. It's just if you get out of that phase like as fast as you can, and then everybody can start moving back to the center of the room. And then here you can see now they're just dealing with the protoform barriers, and hopefully we get to see that really cool overlap again with the chaotic essence. That with the ads just makes a mess. Oh, here it is. Yeah, that with the ads just makes an absolute mess on your screen. I really wish you could also have the first-person affix here, but that's just me being selfish. But
I mean, you wouldn't see anything. It's probably lagging for a second with all of those nameplates coming up. But yeah, Liquid now back at the place and the time that we did see them have a little bit of trouble on. One more person has gone down. They do have that battle rest to go back up to 20 players here. And they are using it once again to have that number be there. One more platform that they need to deal with, and this boss has given them a lot of problems. Chaotic Essence is up. They're gonna get that damage amp here, and hopefully it'll make them be able to finish off this boss.
yeah, unfortunately,
Mira's actually going down for Lihu, but they did end up using that battle rest to get their tank back up. But yeah, now out of battle rest is for Echo as well. We'll see. Because they're about to approach that second intermission phase where they have to finish off one of those schematics again. And the last time they had lots of issues because the damage that was incoming in the group was just so high. and they barely managed to heal it, with everyone else going down right afterwards. We'll see if they manage this time around.
It looks like with these circles, wrong prediction on mine as well, but it looks like they just are out still doing a single stack with those.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty fine on that, so the 280
no damage.
squish not hurting them too much, but Risen actually goes down here. They don't have a battle rest. That's one less healer in this workshop phase here. That's going to hurt quite a bit, so hopefully they can get through this defense matrix automa pretty quickly, but look at the health bars. Everybody's just dropping so low. Spirit Link was up here to try and keep the group top. They were able to do that, so now on that final sprint on Lihuvim here with 25%.
Yeah,
I
last
get another Guardian and the ad phase as well coming in. These Atoma can actually be really hard to deal with, but it looks like they all gathered up nicely. Usually what happens is that people AoE them or damage them too quickly, and then they start casting already while being really spread out. But this time around they managed to make sure they all stack up at first, and now they should be able to deal with them nicely, and they can also use their AoE stuns to interrupt their casts. So it looks like Echo might be able to finish off this boss here. Nicely done, even with that one healer, that they should be.
Notably, they have to get through one more boss after that, and that's Prototype Pantheon. So Liquid still has a chance to catch up here, but yeah, Echo going 2-0 that Liquid currently has. However, Liquid is on that final stretch as well. 15% remaining on Artificer Xy'mox. The portals are being placed right now. Hopefully they are in a good place. Yeah, looking exactly how they should be. So this should be the kill for Liquid as well.
even if they are behind, as long as they stay close behind like this, it won't be that big of a deal, because the cursed affixes coming up that have been made by these chaotic Blizzard employees are not something to be taken lightly. So if Echo keeps continuing the way they are and they end up getting the curses, it would give Liquid a really good chance to catch up.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like they are going to be able to finish it off, even though a bunch of players actually went down on that last set of Halos. But there we go. They are looking good, and they're now able to move on to Lihuvim as well. If they're able to one-shot Lihuvim, they would still be incredibly close to Echo as well, as you said. So we'll see how they do on that boss. While Echo has to clear the trash here right in front of Prototype Pantheon, but now they are able to do the boss. And it looks like they also might have activated the lifeline for this boss, so they are also going to have those 4 affixes activated on Prototype. So that means, since both of the guilds have 2 lifelines, that means they're both, or Echo at least, used both of their lifelines already within the first checkpoint, which is an interesting strategy for sure.
Wait, both of their lifelines? They didn't use it on Artificer, no? They used one on Lihuvim, and they have a second one if they want to use it now.
One now on Prototype.
Oh, you're looking into the future, Nagura. We couldn't even see that yet.
There we go. Sorry, I was just sidekick, you know? I know what they're doing.
Spoilers! Shake my head. But yes, we can see those lifelines being used on both of the teams. I'm not sure, I think it might be an overlay issue that it's only showing 3 for Lihuvim right now. But yeah, it should be 4, so both of the teams have all of the fated affixes available right now, and that makes the fight a little bit spicier for sure. Now, I really want to see how they are dealing with the seeds here, because with 3 healers, you can definitely do that. We've seen people 2 heal it as well on live, but again, there's an item level squish, and that could provide some spiciness.
Yeah, there is definitely a possibility of that. I do remember during the Race to World First, the first moderate wall we got felt like it was Prototype. The poll counts for both of the top 2 guilds were definitely pretty high. So especially with the scaling down, like you said, I can imagine that this might be a little bit of a wall, but they are activating all 4 of the affixes, so not sure exactly what that'll do here. And if the timings of them are really good, like during seeds, especially for healers, they can top them off really quickly. They could actually be super beneficial, but it just really depends when everything is coming out.
It also looked like they didn't even have to finish off the ads in phase 1. Those 4 ads that make the pedal in the middle just grow bigger and bigger if you don't finish them off. they didn't have to deal with them because they had all of those fated affixes enabled, so they gained so much damage that they just managed to push the bosses through without having to deal with them, which is really, really nice, of course, not having to send your ranged into the back to deal with those ads. And they might actually be able even to do that in the last phase, if they have a really beneficial affix rotation there, like if they get the chaotic essence at the very start of the last phase, and they have Bloodlust available as well, they might be able to push through, which would make that boss quite a lot easier, because that's usually where guilds are struggling, right? When you're spread out across a platform, you have to soak those lines, you have to heal up the seeds, you have to push up those ads. That's usually what slows you down a lot. So we'll see if Echo manages to ignore them.
Yeah, nobody likes running. Time not doing damage is time not well spent. That's the rule. So now they need to do exactly that. Dodge these little blood spheres on the floor, but everybody seems to be getting through here. Clicks, proccing that pot one more time. They don't have a battle rest, but the pod will be a protective barrier between him and a sure death. And they still have that bloodlust, of course, that they will be using on the last phase of this boss here. And I'm really curious how long it's going them to take to finish off these 4 bosses with that bloodlust and the faded affixes.
Yeah, you see them holding on to that creation spark too, and just as the next phase starts, they're getting the buff right away, so it's really good timing on that.
Yeah, unfortunately, they got a chaotic essence right at the end of that second phase, so that means they might not be able to get... Oh no, never mind, there is another essence.
There's
right
one
there.
in the background. They might need to life grip that one. I'm not sure if they can. It seems a little bit chaotic that it's spawning outside of the ring here, but we can see Frego activating it and it getting gripped by the DK into the melee pit, where everybody's just going to spam their AoE spells. Gara's going down here in that bloodlust. They do not have a battle rest, and players are taking some damage here, but it looks like they can recover and get that back stabilized. The bosses are slowly but surely dying. Renewal still having a lot of HP in comparison to the others. They need to focus that one down. Now more players are dying off. Narco, Lorgox, and Velo are all on the floor. The rest of the team needs to get this in control here. Absolution and Renewal still very, very high in HP, and they need to finish them off. Tragedy is unfolding for Echo here. They cannot finish this boss.
Yeah, so they choose to ignore the ads in the last phase, as I've been talking about, and if you have players go down at the very start there, that means you're just not going to have enough damage, because you are on a really tight timer, because those ads spawn almost immediately as soon as the last phase starts, and they definitely counted on being able to ignore them. Yeah, with those players going down, that puddle spread across the whole platform, and that is of course unhealable damage, because not only does it do damage to you, but it also gives you a healing absorb if you stand in that puddle, so it makes you unhealable as well, which ended up just wiping Echo there at the very end. So they need to have a little bit more damage to be able to finish them off before the puddle reaches them, and they also need to make sure that of course everyone stays alive until that point to have that damage. But Liquid though, one-shotting Leovim, wow.
Yeah, like we said, they still had the chance to catch up, and that is exactly what they're doing, moving to the teleporter here. This is Liquid's chance to even out the losing streak that they've been on. So if they one-shot this boss as well here, they could possibly get to the checkpoint first, depending on what Echo does.
I almost think that they might not want to, because we're still going to keep this a little bit of a secret from everybody, but I think I would almost rather wait for one extra pull after Echo to get the to not get the Fated Curse, because they look very scary.
What do you mean? It's for charity. You want to get those 10K for your charity that you're supporting.
I just think
it'd be so want to get it.
It'd be so funny if both were just like sitting waiting for the other one to kill it, just to min-max the curse or something.
No.
Send it. So obviously it's an upside to reach checkpoint first, because you get that extra money for your charity. But that means that you're going to get the curses, which might lower the chances of you getting to the second checkpoint first, right? So you always have to think about that as well. It also looks like Liquid did activate their lifeline, their second lifeline on this boss as well, which means that neither of the teams are going to have any lifelines left after this boss. But once we reach the first checkpoint, which is after Prototype Pantheon, then the second guild, so whichever guild is not going to kill the boss first, they get another lifeline that they have to use within the second checkpoint.
I'm just staring at the nameplates. I'm sorry, I'm very intrigued by what's going on here. Liquid, of course, deciding to just commit here to push the bosses into phase, not going to care about these little extra ads that spawned across the platform, similar to what we've seen from Echo. And they are a little bit behind Echo in pulling here because they still had to clear out the trash that was in the boss room. We let them teleport to the bosses, but they have to do the trash that's in the room if there's trash in that room. So they had to get through that as well, which threw them again a little bit behind. But both teams are really, really close to each other. Echo now in the second phase. That's the phase where the last time somebody went down. There is some damage coming out here, and they want to avoid to go down to 19 people.
Yeah, I feel similarly to kind of what we saw. Oh, wow. Liquid just lost 4 people instantaneously there. Well, I did, I guess, before I said it, jinxed what I was about to say a little bit, but I feel like we're going to see most of the issues kind of when they get to the last phase, kind of like what we saw on Prague, because they get the nasty overlap with a lot of the affixes, and just as Echo was going down the first time, the creation sparks were spawning, and they have the potential to spawn in the green as it's like stretching out through the platform. And on top of that, the giant swirls that have a chance to pin you are also spawning, so you have very limited spaces to stand in that last in the last like minute of the boss.
As the Liquid unfortunately having to wipe there as they lost those 4 players in that second phase. While Echo is about to reach the last phase as well. They just have to get one of those prototypes to 40%, and it looks like they're going to be nuking down Absolution here, trigger that phase. And they have everything available. They have the Lust, they have the cooldowns, and this time maybe they even get a Chaotic Essence to spawn a bit quicker. Because the last time it was kind of after they had already lasted and used their cooldowns, so it wasn't that great with the lineup there. We'll see if it's a bit better for them this time. But yeah, someone in chat was asking if the curse is going to be pre-nerf Halandris. And I would love to see pre-nerf Halandris being done by those guilds. I don't think that's quite going to be the curse, unfortunately.
Wait, pre-nerf Halandris plus 2 ADI level.
I would love that.
Salta here going down. Narco also seeming to be in a Hymir proc during this Bloodlust here, and once again, players need to evenly kill these bosses here. So 9%, 6%, 5% on Absolution. Echo looking like they have this one in the back as Pantheon goes down and Echo makes it to our first checkpoint of the day.
Wow, so that means that Echo is going to get additional money for their charity, Direct Relief. Amazing job by Echo. But it also means that we're going to be asking one of their players some questions. It's going to be 3 questions, and depending on how many they answer correctly or incorrectly, they're going to have to do something that is not necessarily beneficial for them. It's going to be a curse that gets applied to their guilds, and they have to use the curse on one of the bosses within the next checkpoint, depending on which boss they choose.
For Liquid's sake, hopefully it's Roger again.
True, because Roger had 2 answers wrong, right?
In chat earlier today saying his guild is still bullying for it, so very, very unfortunate. But I think it's going to be Scribe that's joining us right now. Hey Scribe, how are you?
Hey Scribe!
Hello, doing great, thank you. Hope you are doing great too.
Yeah,
Let's
definitely,
get straight into
we're
the
excited.
Questions. Let's get into the questions
Yeah,
because I know you want to keep
right?
playing. The team is waiting. So first question. What tank specs were used in the world first mythic artificer Xy'mox kill by Liquid? Was it Monk and Paladin, Warrior and Demon Hunter, Druid and Monk, or Monk and Warrior?
I'm pretty sure it was Monk and Paladin, because it was really OP with spell warding and jumping over.
Final answer? There we go.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is correct. Wow, good job.
All right, second question. Let's see what it is. Which of the following is not an ad in the encounter with Lehuvin? A. Degeneration Automa, B. Guardian Automa, C. Acquisitions Automa, or D. The Unstable Automa?
That is a good one. I believe it's the unstable Automa.
Final answer? You sure?
I'm gonna go for unstable. I'm gonna go for unstable. Yeah.
All right, let's see. It is correct. So, second question, also locked in and correct.
All right, well, for the last question, we have which of the following spells is a mythic-only mechanic on Prototype Pantheon? 1. Touch of the Night. 2. Racking Pain. 3. Burden of Sin. 4. Cosmic Shift.
I think Touch of the Night is the debuff that gets applied by the lines, which only exists on Mythic. I'm not sure if that, maybe I'm wrong, but I would say A.
All right, well, Roger is in shambles as it looks like you got all of the questions correct. So, minimizing the curse for your team.
Good job.
Let's go.
Just minimizes the curses, though, right? That means that
there's still going to be a curse. So 2 players will have to play with trinkets of the trade. That means you have to unequip and donate your trinkets to the charity cache. So 2 of your players are going to play without. Who are these 2 players going to be, Scribe?
I think it was the 2 healers, Ryzen. No, Zazi and Ryzen.
No.
Yeah.
Wow,
Always
always
the
healers.
healers.
Wow. That's not
All right,
very
I'm
nice.
contacting my lawyers right now.
All right, so we'll let you off. Thank you so much, and good luck in the next bosses as well.
Good luck.
Thank you. Have fun. Bye-bye.
All right, well, that was really good. Poor Echo here, getting to the checkpoint first, getting the additional money for their charity, and then also having the least amount of curse applied to their to the boss as well. So we'll see which boss they choose to use the Fated Curse on, because they can basically freely use it on any of the bosses within the next checkpoint. It's gonna be either Halandris or Anduin that is within the second checkpoint. So we'll see which boss they choose to use it on. What do you think they're gonna be using it on?
Well, you have to remember as well
Welcome, Zyra.
that Liquid also gets 1 extra lifeline now because they lost that checkpoint. I don't know though. What do you think? 2 trinkets? I mean, no healer trinket's probably not that big of a deal, right? Like, you could do it. You could probably do it on either one of these. I'd probably do it on Halandris. I think Halandris is probably the easier of these 2 bosses. Don't you agree, Tuddles?
I would say that Halandris is definitely the easier of the 2 bosses whenever you're dropping just trinkets in general. I'm really interested in the fact that neither of these teams are running double priest for Anduin, because you would like to have the Mass Dispel for the intermission, just for those healer ads, but not having that second MD. I mean, Krista, do you think that's going to cause issues, or do you think it's going to be fine?
Yeah, I was a bit concerned about that. I don't think I've ever seen this boss done on Mythic before without 2 priests. But honestly, regarding the trinkets, I don't think it's that big of a deal, because a lot of people seem to forget healers have like 6 trinkets because all your IQDs are hours. So it's not like the healers actually lost their trinkets.
Well, you don't play that
know
now.
about
That's
that
unfortunate.
Well, actually, let me push up my glasses here. Actually,
Okay.
because in this raid we're using a scaling aura, technically the players could be using IQD if they wanted to be. I was watching him fired upstream, and he was using an Unbound Changeling. So
IQD took a pretty massive nerf coming into the patch. I don't know
true,
if you're going to be playing that, but maybe you could if you really value your healer's mana.
and maybe if your healers are just, a little bit, demanding of their players. I need that IQD for mana, Some healers are like that.
Healers are very well known to be like that. This is true.
Amen.
And oh, dude, look at this. Liquid actually ended up committing their lifeline to Halandris. and they're already pushing the boss. So this actually kind of makes sense due to when the Faded Affixes normally end up coming out on Halandris. And so it's one of those things that I expect these teams to be able to push this boss super fast, because you only get 3 of the Faded Affixes on this fight in general, and it's at the start of each of these phases. You don't get them spawning in the intermission, right?
Yeah, and also the big thing we were talking to THT about this yesterday is there's no moats on Halander's baseline, right? If you look at Echo, who have not used that on this fight, moat is not one of the affixes. So getting those moats, making sure the phases go a little bit quicker, pretty important to face this boss. And we've already had a wipe from Echo on this boss, which is not how today has gone so far. So let's see if Liquid can actually capitalize on that and get this boss down first.
Well, when it comes to these 2 lifelines, how much do you think them choosing to use it on Halandris is to not use it on Anduin? If a factor at all.
I think you still use it on Anduin, but remember they have the extra one now. They have 3 total, so they're going to use one here. Then I think
they used 2 already, didn't they?
Wait, did they use one on... No, they used one on Lahuvum. Did Liquid also use theirs on one of the...
Liquid also used it on Lahuvum and Prototype Pantheon.
Ah, okay.
But, I mean, look at this top right-hand corner of the screen. They have already pushed Halandris here. They don't have Lust up, which is, kind of unfortunate. But at the same point, they're not going to need it in the last phase. But they let a bomb go off!
What? Okay.
Huh? That really? They let a bomb go off?
Hey, I mean, we've all done that at some point, right, guys? You know?
Nope. Can't say I have.
No, actually never.
I'm a DPS player. I'm
literally
literally perfect at the game. Never make any mistakes. Right, Tunnels?
Same.
God, I wish I could relate. God.
It's unfortunate that they let a bomb go off. I mean, since the Halandris got nerfed a lot since Race School First, to where the grace period on those bombs exploding is rather high. I wonder if somebody accidentally, like, refreshed their debuff or picked it up, or they lost the bomb or something. There's a lot of ways that you can, unfortunately, let it explode if you're not being super careful, but I'm surprised that Liquid was let it go off there. But now they're not lusting. I wonder where they're going to lust at this point. I wonder if they're going to save it for the last phase.
Probably last phase.
Well, they sent it in the last pull, didn't they?
They did.
Oh, look. They just pressed it.
Oh, maybe they're just waiting for the moats. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. 40% damage amp with the lust is pretty nice. I think the big reason that you do this is so you can skip the reclamation form, right, in the second phase really easily, because that's just, a big shield that you have to burn through, which they would like to not do. And you can milk a lot of damage in this intermission phase.
Yes.
Look, it phases at 78% or so, right? And they already have the boss at 68% before it even starts moving, so yeah, this boss is going to get pushed really fast. Echo not doing that, though. They hold the loss.
It would definitely make sense for them to want to skip it as well, because one difference I actually just noticed is Echo's running 3 healers, and then Liquid's running 4. So I'm not sure how easy it would get, or how easy it would be to get through a reclaim with just 3 at this eye level.
Yeah.
I like that Scott, we can actually see him on the damage meter on that Guardian Druid.
Yeah, man.
Bear does so much damage to moats, by the way.
Just thrash.
There's logs of Guardian Druids saving their CDs for the moats, and they will be top damage on those moats by a considerable amount if they do save their cooldowns for it.
Tuttles, do you know if the bomb ticks, the debuff ticks faster when you have the creation spark buff?
I could just make something up if you want. No, I have no idea though.
Huh.
That
could be. Yeah, look, it just happened for Echo. Narcoles tried to run over the bomb, but he just died when he picked up the bomb because I'm assuming he still had the debuff.
Yeah, maybe it was like an emergency save.
Maybe. Tobo down 2 now. Uh-oh.
Are they fine?
Technically, if they have backups for the bomb carry, they should be fine, but...
So, those 2 melee players, I think Tobo's playing serve. So I guess if they have Lust still available, they're going to have to get through this reclaim. But there's no reason that they couldn't 18-man the end of this fight.
Oh no.
Okay.
That was a
it's-
moat. That was a moat hitting the boss. Yeah, this is a wipe now.
Now it's-
All right, but Liquid is through that second phase. They're on that second walkway now. This is probably the most dangerous part of the fight, the most notorious part of the fight that everyone was wiping to back in progression on this boss, because it's really annoying to figure out how to carry those bombs across this platform. But notably now, of course, the bomb timers are 30 seconds instead of the 15 seconds they were back then, so it's a little bit easier to get through. So I would be very surprised if something goes wrong for Liquid here. But look how much damage they've done to the boss already. This boss is going to be like 20% almost by the time it gets to the end point.
And they're going to get all of their faded buffs as well. They're not going to have Lust,
yeah.
but they'll probably have all of their offensive CDs. Like the advantage of doing the strategy like this is that they don't have to commit any offensive CDs in the P2. They're only committing them in P1 and then just utilizing that bonus damage from that milk that they have into being able to just blast P2. And so now they should have everything up.
Oh yeah.
Well, if everything goes correctly and they get the kill here, then they would be pretty ahead of Echo. And the more you look at the difference as well, it's like with Echo having that curse, they took like the trinkets off their healers, and again, they're only running 3, so that might actually be one of the biggest issues that they're having to deal with right now.
Well, I think the big advantage for Liquid is not necessarily that Echo has the curse, but it would be that Liquid has the lifeline, right, Krista?
Oh,
Like
possibly.
that bonus lifeline seems like it's doing a lot of work.
This isn't 100% over yet. 2 players have seeded for Liquid. It was JPC and Sharepriest, both seeded. But, of course, the advantage of Pod Tenter is that you don't actually die, you get to come back up. So they were apparently seeded in a good spot. Let's see. Yeah, everyone can just do a quick little refresh of the bomb right now, and with all the buffs coming out on them that they probably already have, should be the boss going down. Yeah.
I saw a bomb circle, and I thought it was a creation spark circle that I was about to go. I was like, oh.
I mean, honestly, even if you miss a creation spark soak, I'm pretty sure your healers could heal through it, because they actually have their trinkets on.
Yeah, that's the reason they're going to be able to heal through it, of course.
Oh, yeah, look at that tactical cauterize from Fired Up there to get to the teleporter quickly. Oh, that was huge.
Echo with the big wipe. This is really
Again.
good for Liquid now. Echo just wiping again on Halandris, allowing Liquid to progress towards Anduin. Liquid deciding that jumping off and going back to the teleporter is a lot faster than flying all the way to Genesis Cradle, which makes sense.
That is correct. That is correct. That was the smart play. Big brains coming from Liquid there.
Okay, if they one-shot this, I think that Liquid is in a great position. I do not know how hard Anduin is going to be right now. It's been, I would say, at least the boss that I've had the most difficult time on this Fated season in general. But I wonder what Liquid's going to be able to do here. If they're able to one-shot this, then it puts them in a great position moving forward.
So, what's the state of our lifelines right now? Who has what available?
0-0, I think. Left.
Is it 0-0 right now? Okay.
Maybe
Interesting.
Krista can tell us the numbers.
Let's see. I know they both used 2 in the first one, and then let's see. I think both used on the Hoovam. I already forgot. I'm sorry.
Dratnos has confirmed that it's 0-0, so our host coming in clutch with the remembering from earlier. Okay. So no lifelines available for either team, and remember, whoever loses this phase will gain 1 lifeline for the last checkpoint. So Rygalon, Lords of Dread, and Jailer, they'll have that 1 extra lifeline here.
Oh, thank
Pretty
goodness
good
that
for
I get
Jailer.
an additional. Thank goodness that I get a lifeline for Rygalon and Lords of Dread or Jailer.
I mean, it's kind of nice for Jailer, man. It's kind of nice for Jailer, because you already have Creation Spark on that boss, right? So, yeah, gain moats, gain the shield, you know. Seems pretty good to me.
Honestly, looking at the affixes that they have on Anduin, it's a Protoform Barrier and the Reconfiguration Emitter. I feel like those are one of the easy ones for Anduin, right? Because I know sometimes you can get really bad spawns with the Creation Spark sometimes.
I thought that Creation Spark was pretty tough this most recent week that we had it in Sepulcher. I suspect that these are probably 2 of the easier ones. Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with that.
Yeah, this should be I don't see these having too much of an issue on the team. The only thing that I don't like about these affixes is they don't have the moats, which are kind of nice for burning the boss in the intermission phase. They could probably, even at this item level, like,
Well,
maybe one phase it pretty close. It'd be kind of sick if they did.
but unless they have brand new computers, their FPS with all those ads and the modes.
Yeah, that's okay, man. You know, just I don't know, just have a good computer. I don't know.
Okay, so, thank you.
Okay, I like them too, actually. So it doesn't matter how good your computer is, unfortunately. Let's see, Echo back in phase 2 here. Man, they're having a really tough time pushing these bosses' phases without the boat affix, though. We actually have seen Echo several times in this second phase now, having to deal with that second reclaim cast, whereas Liquid just literally burned right through the phase without ever even seeing the boss start to cast that. So this is going to be a long fight for Echo to deal with. And it's part of the reason why they wiped it, I have to say.
Okay, so, and then as for Liquid on the top right, Crystal, what exactly would you do if you don't have double Mass Dispel? Are you just like slow dispelling the healing ads in the second intermission?
Yeah, I was taking a look. It looks like they sent the priest and the paladin down together, and my guess is because you can just mass and then they can YOLO their virtue beacon to try to top them. Because if you send a paladin down there with just the single dispels, you might not get as much of an effect on it. So, yeah,
Okay.
I can imagine they would just dispel 2 at a time, heal them. Rest of Druid can just pump a ton of hots on them and then just dispel the next 2.
Because the revival doesn't actually work on them, right?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I've ever even played with the monk on that fight, so I feel like it would.
I think it doesn't for some reason, but I'm not a Mistweaverologist.
Yeah, me neither.
I can
As
make
far as I
something
know,
up
those
if you
don't
want.
exist.
That's what I said earlier. That's why I lied. Hold on, you can't take that.
Ooh,
So
I like this POV. Kind of sick.
I wish I could have this POV on this fight.
yeah, the amount of times I've gotten clipped by the wall or circles under 1 million people and Night Fae visuals has been pretty awful. But yeah, if we could have
Hello.
POV
Oh,
like this.
Ben dying.
Uh-oh. Sang also already dead. Okay, so down 1 beam for this second phase is not exactly ideal.
Oh,
Wow,
and
what are they
it's gonna
taking
be
so
a
much
wipe.
damage from right now? This is looking like a wipe. Did they not have 100
look at this.
energy?
No, they don't have 100 energy. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Did they? Huh. Well. Very
Well, there you
unfortunate.
go. Okay.
I wonder if it's possible to actually push that boss. Like how far you're able to push that boss. Do you need to get a second intermission or what?
Yeah, I
Because it would
think
be
you
nice.
do with these affixes.
Yeah. Just looking at how high the boss is pretty high there, right? It was like 40% or so.
Yeah.
What do you need to push it to? To 10? I think it's 10, right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
If we look over to the Echo side, it looks like they have a really good pulse so far. Everybody is alive. I'm not sure if I saw them use any battle reses, but boss only has 13% health left. And after this like round of the circles that they have to dodge and maybe like 1 more bomb pass off, seems like a pretty free kill for them. And then you can both see them face off on Anduin.
Oh yeah. I like
It's
the
like they're
fact
also-
that these bosses
Sorry.
are actually like real encounters. Because I don't know. We don't even talked about this. Oh wait, spoke too soon. We spoke too soon.
Huh? They're wiping! No!
Krista!
You jinxed them! It wasn't me!
Welcome to the caster desk. Caster cursing 101. That was you.
Claim
You
it's
did
a-
that.
Claim it's a
Come
kill
on.
before it's a kill.
That was your fault.
Listen, they got all the Americans together on the desk, Liquid ahead, all of this according to plan.
All right, now Liquid, your turn. Capitalize. No wiping.
There's the. All right, we did it. You get 1 freebie, 1 additional lifeline.
I was gonna say, like, I think in our initial rule set we had them set at like 290 item level, and then we watched one of the teams practicing, and they killed off Artificer Xy'mox and Castle Nathria in like a minute and 20 seconds. They're like, wait.
There was a Hungry Destroyer kill in 45 seconds or something as well.
Wait a minute. This is too fast. So they dropped it down to 280, and some of these Sepulcher bosses at 280 item level are going to be very long encounters. That Halandris was approaching the 6-minute mark for Echo there, which is not too far off the progression kill time for Halandris. I think the progression kill time was something like 7.5 or 8 minutes, right? So it's getting pretty close to that, which is pretty insane.
I just think it means that lifeline that Liquid chose to use on Halandris looks even better now. Oh, look at this. Liquid here. We actually see the downstairs phase. They did 2 and 2 on the dispels on the ads.
I'm not sure. It actually still looked like a mass, and we only could see we can only see the 2 getting healed from the point of view.
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably right. Because they had they actually had the Paladin Priest down that phase. So
well, we're 100
yeah.
energy now, so right. So
true.
That
is
is
very good.
Yeah. This should go a lot better. Yeah, it looked like what happened in that first pull is their lust ran out, and they kind of just ran out of juice, and everyone just started dying.
I think Ben dying on the Blood DK is also really scary. Ooh,
True.
Look at this. This is I think that this is an okay time protoform barrier. You would have liked to have maybe had it a little bit later, maybe 10 seconds or so later, but at the same point, that buff lasts 40 seconds? Is it 30 seconds?
45 seconds, something like that. It's a long buff.
It's a really long buff, and it's actually going to provide Liquid a ton of damage for this phase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that soul didn't even have to get looked at. It just got burned down in the cooldowns here. The 2 survival hunters doing work on the first set of ads. Anduin already at 55%, which was a good percentage to get him in the first intermission in way back in March when this raid came out. They could very easily get this to the mid-low 30s, I think. I don't know, maybe they're running out of damage here. Let's see though.
I am still curious to see what happens when they get to that second phase, or the next phase where they have to have the other half of the raid go down. Because we did see, I think they sent down, like we said, the Priest and Paladin. I think both the Warriors went down too. So we're also going to see how the second comp handles all of the ads down there, as well as, like we said, the healers without the Mass Dispel.
Although there is the caveat as well that the second
I think
Kingsmorton phase is not going to be as long, right? Because they're going to have the boss at something like 25%. You really only have to be in that phase for 20 seconds. So if you do miss a little energy, it's kind of okay, but not really.
Well, I think Nick and Twisted are going down in the first Kingsmorn. At least they were in the first phase. Ooh, look at this. Echo only have Halandris at 75%. I wonder if they wiped again. Maybe this is about the right time for them to have it at 70. Maybe they wiped again in P1 or something.
Yeah.
They need to hurry it up. If they get walled on Halandris, that would be tragic.
Gotta race to world first all over again. Oh no. I think all of us had to wake up 5 days straight being told it was Halandris, so it was not fun.
That was fun though. There were a lot of good Halandris memes.
I woke up 5 days straight and got told it was splits again. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what you were on. I had to cast splits every single day.
I don't know how much you guys watched the Liquid production of the race, but the room we were in had screens at the bar behind us, way in the background, and Waveform had put the dancing crab emoji on all of those screens while they were progressing on Halandris. So we just had dancing Halandris all around the studio. Ah, man, that was something. Those were interesting times.
What are all these smilers in chat doing, man?
They're smiling, dude.
What are they doing? All right, it's looking like things are going well for Liquid. I believe that they just have this Kingsmorn 2 coming out here in just a second. Ooh, Protoform Barrier spawned on that Grim Reflection right as it's about to die. Okay, but Liquid is able to get that killed off. Ooh, everybody's getting feared. Oh, that Protoform Barrier timing was so bad. It's going to be a wipe for Liquid, man.
Oh, no, again?
It's just if you purge at the wrong time with the protoform barrier, it just ends up shielding everything. You saw that one ad that needed to like die at that point, get shielded, and then another ad got their cast off.
Did we get a chance to see how much time they had left to purge for the protoform barrier? So I'm wondering how long they can hold it or not.
That.
I couldn't tell.
Well, Echo is into that second intermission again, but we know that the last phase is not as free as it seems. Still, even with all of the nerfs to this boss, so keep an eye on them.
This is now their 4th stack of determination, isn't it? Ironic.
Something like that, isn't it? They've worked like 5 or 6 times with this boss, no?
Oh, maybe. All right, so they're building up determination stacks.
Yeah, they're currently doing what, 25% more damage. Wait, hold on, that's LFR. Wait a minute. Getting trolled by titles. We need whoever's in charge of the Warcraft 7 TV emotes to add Halandris Rave to the chat so we can spam those crabs while we're still on the boss. It'd be really tragic if they kill the boss before that's added.
Well, say nice things about them, and maybe you can curse them, Zyro. I will not speak.
No. I've done enough cursing in my time.
I will not speak, though.
I also do not want to comment on the Echo Pov again.
talk about Liquid's Anduin then.
Oh, dude, their Anduin. This is it right here. I can just tell. It's going so good.
What do you think of the curse of weakness on the boss right now? That's insane. Huge play coming out from one of the Warlocks. Probably THD. He likes hitting those curse buttons a lot.
Those curse buttons are sick. I think
they're also banned.
I think Liquid's comp for this boss is actually really solid. I love the triple lock play, the double Demo, 1 Destro. Like, they could have even played double Destro, and I thought it would have been pretty good. I think that 3 locks on this boss just in general, and honestly for the final little bit of Sepulcher, I think that more locks is really, really good for you. Even if, like, it doesn't matter what spec they're playing, honestly.
Don't say that. THG will bust out Affliction right now.
I'm down to see Affliction.
He will do it.
We need more Affliction Warlocks, just in general. They've been
Is Echo going to do it? Is the crab gone? 2%? 1%? They're good.
Halandris is dead.
Nice.
Halandris is gone.
I think that gets rid of their curse now as well, so hopefully moving on to Anduin, it'll be a little smoother for them. And Liquid's got a handful of pulls on them now, so they're going to have to do a lot to try and catch up.
Do you think this boss is able to be one-shot by Echo here?
Anduin?
Maybe.
I personally don't think so.
Maybe.
It's just weird because the things that Liquid are wiping to is just like, oh, they wiped to Protoform Barrier at a bad time. They wiped to not having 100% energy on Anduin going into the first intermission. I feel like these are things that you can shore up the issues of and be able to one-shot it if you are playing super clean. I mean, this is the advantage of having an additional raid leader outside the raid as well, is you're able to like be very diligent about tracking that Protoform Barrier timing, ideally.
Yeah. That is quite useful.
We can see the prog real time, right? Like, aside from some of the early, like, silly wipes that you have, they're making, like, obvious progression and the changes that they need to make this boss easier and easier. So, probably in the next few pulls. Because I don't even think the last phase really is that hard. I really think a lot of this is just dealing with the affixes overlapping with the standard mechanics that we see.
Alright, let's see how low Liquid can get the boss this time around. It's kind of crazy, the amount of burst you do right at the start of this damage amp phase is extremely high, but then once these second ads come out, you just kind of have to devote all your time to finishing off these Fiendish Souls, and of course the one Monstrous Soul so it doesn't wipe you.
Oh my god! Somebody taught that Fiendish Soul off the moon, that Monstrous Soul off the moon, can please save him!
Oh, he's getting Outkin Frenzy procs, that's good.
He got melee twice and almost died! If you die during your cooldowns after this fight as a Moonkin, you do not want to play the game anymore. You say, don't even res me, I don't even want
his
it.
His cooldowns are already gone, it's okay.
No, you ramped there.
No shot! Well, the boss is even lower this time. It was just under 40% last time. They're going to get to about 36-ish%.
Ooh,
this
that's
time
really
around.
good.
That's a really, really good burn. So pretty much all they have to do is just live through this second phase, get the protoform barrier up at the right time, and they should be okay. So,
Yeah, they're also
What
missing
exactly
battle
was-
res. Because Ben
Oh,
went
that's
down the
true.
intermission.
Okay, they have another one, though, coming up now. So they have that little cushion to fall back onto. And what exactly was it that they wiped to the last pull here? It was the barrier. But what was it? What was it? The barrier being? And did they just not break the barrier?
So the barrier shielded the Grim Reflection at like 2% HP, and so then they needed to commit another kick to the other Grim Reflection, and then like the CC broke on a different one off the other side of the room for some reason, and I think it was just like they were expecting one of them to be dead. It was definitely not dead, and then they needed to commit kicks to it, or maybe there was some panic. It was kind of unclear.
Have we had protoform barrier on this fight before on live? Because when you break the barrier, it does damage to the things the barrier's on, right? So does breaking the barrier break the CC on the ads across the room too?
Oh God, I have no idea. I can make something up.
Go for it. Yeah, let's hear it. What do you think?
I don't think it does. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
It looks like they proc their protoform barrier with the reconfig emitter right there, so they don't have the debuff on the boss right now. So
I'm
they have
honestly-
double buff. What were you saying? Sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm honestly surprised even watching this. I thought we would have maybe seen some wipes to like the barrier not getting healed up, but I don't think we've seen them die to that at all.
One of their Grim Reflections is out of CC. Okay, now they got a repair on it.
They got it
I think
back in
that
there, yeah.
I don't know. It's not something to do with the protoform barrier. I think that's like intentional that they're breaking that CC. They just didn't get like a re-CC on it or something. Oh my
I
God,
don't know
those
if you've
lost souls
seen
are
this.
getting blasted right now. This is actually kind of scary if they're dying this fast.
I don't know if you've seen this, Tettles. Like, what's going on screen doesn't matter. I need to talk about this. We had a poll in chat just now. What do you do in that situation that just happened on screen a little while ago with the Moonkin? Do you taunt off the Moonkin, or do you let the Moonkin die? 110 people answered the poll. 102 of them voted to let the Moonkin die.
And this is why this is why I'm going to be Night Elf until I can no longer be Night Elf again, so I can meld off aggro whenever I. This is so messed up. Why are you guys voting? What's up with this Moonkin hate? I thought you guys appreciated things like Innervated Stamp Roar. Do you guys really want to walk everywhere slowly?
People remember the beginning of this expansion when we didn't have our mounts on the Maw and Moonkins were hopping around in travel form. What do you mean, guys? The Maw is great. I can go everywhere I want. People don't forget those things. We don't forget.
If it makes you
You
feel
didn't
better,
give me a ride either.
I did stand the Boomkins earlier, so there's a +1 for you.
Thank God. All right, so that's a 2v1. You're getting ratioed right now, Xyro.
More like a 1v1.5. I wouldn't really.
You're still getting
that much
ratioed. It's
credit.
ironic. All right, and do it down to 10% HP, meaning that Liquid is immediately coming out of their intermission. There is no possible way that you can wipe from this point. Absolutely no possible way.
Oh boy. Tettle's trying his hardest to wipe Liquid so that the Moonkin can do his full ramp without having to worry about getting meleeed in that intermission phase. Unbelievable, Tettles.
No, I'm just saying that there's no way that you can wipe with Anduin at 7% HP. It's just not possible.
Man. I'm kind of surprised that like 2 people didn't try to go for the same one of these creation spark circles. Oh, wait, those aren't the creation spark circles. Those are just
Those are
the circles
those are
that
the
you
well
catch.
circles.
Okay, those are well circles. They look exactly the same, actually. That's kind of funny.
Well, so did the Holadris bombs. I got debated
That is
earlier.
true. They do kind of look the same. All right, well, that's the first set of debuffs gone. They're not going to be clearing the second set of debuffs, so it looks like Liquid's going to kill this boss.
This means that
All right.
Liquid will be will finally be able to answer a question and claim that slightly larger bounty for their charity.
Yeah, I really hope whoever they choose gets the answers right, because I think the next Fated Curse is. I personally feel like it's the worst one.
It's definitely
I don't know what it
the
is.
worst one.
To be honest, I have no idea what it is.
You'll know in a sec. You'll know in a little bit. It's really bad. But who are we going to have come on to answer our questions. We know that it's between THG Fired Up and St. Helios. Who is it gonna be?
Surely it's
kinda,
one of the three of them.
Kinda hope it's Fired Up, but I'd be happy with all three of them.
Hear me?
But this is the first checkpoint that Liquid's won, so that's a little bit more money in the pocket for the charity. It is Fired Up! Alright.
What's
Hello.
up?
Oh,
Hello,
hello,
Fired Up.
Can you hear me?
Up? Yes, I can.
Mucho, see? Yeah.
Hello, Senor Laurent. How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing amazing. How are you guys doing well?
Yeah, doing great. You guys won that checkpoint.
Perfect.
Feeling good? That boss
It
fun?
felt like a dominant win. I haven't been looking too closely, but I had a feeling we were in the lead after the few pulls.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
we
Well,
kinda
we got some
smashed them on
questions
Wanderous,
for you
though.
here. You got to answer these questions right. If you answer them wrong, the next Fated Affix gets worse for every question you get wrong, and we got to get you back on the raid quickly because we are racing. So here we go. First question: in which LFR wing is Halandris located in Sepulcher of the First Ones? Is it A, Ephemeral Plains, B, the Cornerstone of Creation, C, Domination's Grasp, or D, the Grand Design?
Well, as I am a expert LFR player, I know the answer is A, Ephemeral Plains.
Final answer?
Yes.
All right, you got that one down. Okay.
Yep.
Not bad.
All right.
All right.
Question number 2. How much time do players have to clear their hopelessness before it explodes on the Mythic Anduin Ren encounter? A, 15 seconds, B, 20 seconds, C, 25 seconds, or D, 30 seconds?
Let me think about this one. Okay, so Anduin?
Yeah, that's the one. On
And
Mythic?
on Mythic? Okay,
Yeah?
it's either 15 or 20 if I were to guess. Probably 15? A? 15?
Oh no! It was 30!
30? What?
30 seconds!
Can I get someone to look at the question to make sure that it was written correctly?
Yeah, we'll have somebody look at the back end for you, but we got to go on to question number 3.
All right, so question
Okay.
number 3. Which trinket was the most equipped in the world first jailer kill by Echo? Was it A, Spiritual Alchemy Stone, B, Soul Letting Ruby, C, Elegy of Eternals, or D, Old Warrior's Soul?
It's definitely not the Spiritual Alchemy Stone.
Okay.
It's probably okay. So here's my thought process. Old Warrior's Soul is old, so it can't be that one because it's from
Okay.
the previous raid. Soul Letting Ruby is pretty common, but it can only go on casters, and Elegy can go on everyone. So we're gonna go with Elegy of the Eternals. C.
Is it that?
And you end up being right.
Wow.
Not bad.
That was
Okay.
some smart deducing there, bud.
Not bad.
All right. So you got one of the questions wrong, and here's what your Fated Affix is going to be. Pull it up on the screen, drum roll. All right, the curse is Aspect of the Snail. I believe, yeah, two correct answers, so 6 players in your raid have to enable roleplay walking.
All right.
RP walk. Do you know who your 6 players are going to be?
It's someone in the raid.
Okay,
don't know
some
who.
people.
All right,
Yeah.
I believe you. All right, we got to let you go get
All
back in there and kill some bosses because Echo's catching up. Good luck in there.
All right.
Good luck, bud.
Good. Have some fun in there, guys.
Thanks, dude. All right. We were talking about this before broadcast. I would highly recommend them to enable RP walking on Lords of Dread. I don't know if you can RP walk Jailer or Aquilon realistically.
Yeah, I know before we even got in here, I was like, are these even possible? So I would agree with Lords probably being the best bet.
All right. I think we're going to rotate some casters out and have some new casters step in for the final 3 bosses.
Yeah, thank you, Xyronic, Tettles, and Krista. Myself, Nagura, and Makes will be rejoining now as we get to the very end of Sepulcher of the First Ones. We get to see, I feel like it's got to be Lords of Dread where you send the RP walking. Yeah, you can already see, I think,
Yeah.
Padra, Ben RP walking right now. There they go. Ben is definitely one of the RP walkers. Scott as well, the other tank for them. Well, this is going to be pretty intense fight with RP Walk turned on.
I mean, credit where credit is due. I'm fired up. Got 2 out of 3 questions correct. That is still better than Roger. And even though Max was in chat saying like no and he got it wrong, the best he could have done here is reduce it down to 5. So having 6 players RP walk is not as terrible.
Yeah, I also think it's okay, especially I would assume they let a lot of the melee RP walk, because the melee don't necessarily have to deal with mechanics, right? It's mostly the casters that have to go into the fear and that have the circles, right?
I mean, they
the
have
only
to
thing the melee really
bait.
have to do is bait the but then they just have to leave a bit earlier to make sure they get to the bait spot.
Do you know
And
how
the
long
imposter
it takes
phase.
if you're going to like
True.
RP walk to bait? That is a very long walk for a whole melee camp. I think you probably want to have some casters in there as well. Or you're just going to bait on the bosses and then very slowly walk with the entire camp away from that bait.
Helios is definitely one of the RP
Yeah,
walkers.
he's trying to
You can
run
see
away
how
from-
he's struggling walking out of that fear zone there. But he did manage, it looks like.
Yeah, no players
You can
here with
see
the
Padra
jailer.
too. Oh
I feel like if you really wanted to be prepared for this, you'd have a jailer trinket in your bags. You just swap that on if you were going to be RP walking anyways, because one of that thing's biggest downsides is the slow that it puts on you, right? But you're already RP walking. It doesn't look like any Liquid players expected they'd have to be RP walking, so none of them had that in their bags.
Helios with that giant moonkin form just slowly dodging from the left to the right just kills me. That is so good.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Here comes the he's got disengaged to get out for the Among Us phase here. Infiltration. Looks like Sang actually was one of the Oh
no!
He wasn't. He was just brutally murdered by his friends. Oh,
They got
tragedy for
aggressive
Sang
Helios.
Yeah.
Was it? That's a moonkin hate if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Stop the moonkin hate.
My
That
guild
was chat
we'll
participating.
we'll coordinate with Whispers. We'll put out a hit on somebody before that intermission phase comes out, and just as soon as everybody goes hostile, somebody gets 20 globals dumped into them. Maybe that's what happened there to Sang.
That was such a good Door of Shadows.
Wow.
Just go
Cat
out.
form! Cat form! That's not going to speed you up if you're RP walking. Oh no.
Just a slow kitty cat. Oh my god,
Because
that is
he Door of
glorious.
Shadowed out, right? And of course, mythic mechanic is that if you're not close enough to other players, you're gonna get feared. So he noticed that he's gonna get feared, and he tried to speed back to his group by using cat form speed. That of course does not work when you have RP walking on.
It's just a
Oh, is he
muscle
gonna
memory, isn't it? You have to kind of get somewhere. It was so difficult for him to just do anything. I feel so bad, but it's hilarious
Hang on,
to
guys.
watch.
I'm almost in the AMZ. Heal me. Imagine being one of the RP walking players as well, and spending 3 globals dodging these clouds as well, and just watching one of the other players get hit by it when they're not RP walking. Must be so frustrating.
Twist
and it's
it,
also really
going
easy
down
for-
though.
The players that have the circle, right? Usually you want to give it to someone else after a while. And you never want to be the person that picks it up from another caster, right? Because you don't want to take the damage from it. So usually what you have to do is you run away from the other people that have the circle and definitely avoid so they cannot give it to you. But if you're RP walking, you're not going to be able to run away from them, right? So surely you're going to be able to get all of those divas all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure. That is the melee life. If you get hit by something because you were being stupid, you run out and you carry it to someone else. We do have a battle dress available again, but I think it's probably going to be used on Twisted instead rather than on Sang.
Oh, this is actually really dangerous. There are a lot of those clouds active during this intermission. Whenever those clouds are active, of course, they can't get healed from anybody else, so we're starting to see even more players going down here for Liquid. They do have 1 battle res, which they're going to send on Twisted, but 2 Moonkins are down, Birch and Sang Helios. Some would argue that this actually has improved their roster, but I would imagine Zura would disagree.
This cast
This is
is
some escalated
escalated
right there.
All right, but they're doing a really good job. I mean, I think everybody can relate to... Oh, Scott going down
no,
here.
this is really bad, actually.
That's not good.
The problem here now is you can see Ben has that debuff that is going to make Mal'Ganis heal every successful Leeching Claws from now on. So they actually need somebody else to taunt. And look at that, Atlas has done it. Atlas has taunted and taken that Leeching Claws. Atlas and Ben are going to have to alternate there.
Oh.
But unfortunately, they failed to activate the Chaotic Essence, it looks like, and so they're just going to wipe. But still, really clutch recovery attempt from Atlas there. Heads up, DPS Death Knight taunt, trying to keep that boss from healing. Unfortunate turn of events there for Liquid. They're going to have to start again. And those RP walks, they're going to stay. They have to keep doing that until they kill the boss.
See, that's the fun part. We thought after this boss it was going to be gone, and now they have to do it again. So we're going to get all of that gloriousness one more time. I'm very ready for that. But on the left side of the screen, Echo is looking to catch up here, and they don't have to deal with any RP walking shenanigans. So this might be the moment where they overtake Liquid.
Yeah, they're actually looking really good as they dealt with that set of the ads there. Managed to see them properly and interrupt everything properly. I think they might be really close to their second intermission. We will see, as they have another emitter spawn here as well.
Yeah, it's going to be one more set of
ads.
Yeah, one more set of Grim Reflections, and then they will get the next Kingsmorn downstairs phase. So their damage on Anduin here is phenomenal. They are in great shape to get to 10% early into the next intermission. They just have to make sure they avoid any Grim Reflection cast going off, and they need to make sure they get Anduin up to at least like 96 willpower. 100 would be better, but if you get much lower than that, you'll just die to the first tick of Relentless Winter in that intermission.
Yeah, we can see half the group now being downstairs. You see the Lost Souls being standing there, so they have to be interrupted. Otherwise, the players downstairs, of course, go down. We see a stun coming out of the Demon Hunter there, and they also keep the ads to seed until the players are up again to make sure they have enough interrupts and enough damage to finish them off or any of those casts go through. Here we go. It looks like the downstairs phase was done properly. It looks like Anduin does have 100 energy, so they will be fine in their intermission. So all they have left to do is finish off those Grim Reflections, and then they will easily get the boss to 10% in that intermission phase.
Yeah, 10 seconds until the intermission. They do have to kill this ad before the intermission starts, but you get a couple seconds of like grace period. Oh, a barrier coming out though as well. Are they going to get through this in time? They need to kill the ad before it starts free casting here. They've done it though. Wow, it explodes. Nicely done. Yeah, that is looking very good for Echo.
Back on the RP walk of Lords of Dread. They managed to get the second checkpoint here, for which we cursed them, essentially. We gave $10,000 to their charity, AbleGamers, but unfortunately they now have to deal with 6 players RP walking in this fight, and you can actually see that even Shakib, who plays under name Paolo on that Demon Hunter, is slowly RP walking from the middle of the room to the rest of the melee. I feel like they're actually taking this from a role-playing aspect here.
Fell Rush.
Probably one of the best classes of the RP walk, right? Because you have the Fell Rush.
It does seem like that was kind of their theory, because I think Fired Up is also doing it, right? And so it's people that have like blinks or movement that are largely doing it, along with Sanghelios, who just has that disengage, and I guess Door of Shadows.
Yeah, they are in that really good, sussy phase, but exactly, Echo is on the final stretch here. They just have to catch these little puddles here, and now it's all focus on Anduin. Do not get hit by stars and just DPS him down, 3% remaining. Looking really, really good here for Echo, who are about to catch up. I'm curious how quickly they can deal with Lords of Dread. Of course, they will be able to pour it into the boss room once Anduin is finished here. You can see, 1 star going straight through that melee camp, but everything has gone well for them, and they are on their way to that teleporter.
Yeah, so that means that Echo actually does have 1 additional lifeline. A lifeline means that he can activate all 4 fated affixes on one of the bosses. So that means they can either activate it here on Lords of Dread, Ragulon, or the Jailer. We'll see which boss they choose to use it on. If they use it on Lords of Dread, it's possible that they kill this boss first try, because having that extra damage, having the Chaotic Essence and all the other buffs is going to be very nice for them. Tiny and Esta go down here on that
Oh,
intermission
no.
phase.
So many
looking very dangerous for
players.
them.
Divine Hymn doing its best there, but it's not going to get through. 2 healers in pods and 1 healer dead. Everybody is just going to jump off here for Liquid as that Swarm of Darkness phase was doing just too much damage to them. And we have a tied race here. Echo does have an extra lifeline, like you said, Nagura, although I don't think you want to send it on this boss because this boss already has Chaotic Essence and Protoform Barrier, the 2 generally thought of as best and lowest impact ones. So we'll see if they decide to use it. It looks like not yet. So they could use it either on Rygalon or Jailer or not at all. But not on Lords of Dread, it looks like, is the plan for Echo. Worth noting, if anybody wants to follow along, by the way, we have on the front page of Raider.io right now, you can click on an interactive timeline, see how all of this has been going on, and follow along with all of the work being done by these 2 guilds here for their great causes that are, of course, Direct Relief for Echo and AbleGamers for Liquid. We also have some chat commands that you can use to try and find out some more about them.
If you can spell Raider.io, unlike some of the casters, I will not name names on this desk. If you're able to spell Raider.io, then you can use that command as well. Unfortunately.
No, look at the Moonkin with the wings, getting the Guardian Spirit there on Kanex because he dropped quite low. And that actually looked really nice in bear form with the wings, beautiful. Did manage to survive though. They also used Bloodlust on that first Swarm of Decay on Mal'Ganis, so they're going to be doing a lot of damage here. Especially Xervo, the Destro Warlock. Oh, interesting. I never see Destro at the top of the meter, so that's very...
Oh, okay, all right. We're going to play that game today. I see. We're just going to lie to the audience. All right. Narcles also actually was one of the people in on the kill here for Echo, too, although he was playing Frost Death Knight coming in for that. But getting to play his Ret Paladin, also doing tremendous amounts of DPS here on Lords of Dread. This is one of those great fights where a lot of specs that don't otherwise see a lot of play can actually do such good damage if they do a lot of burst damage in those intermissions.
I'm just staring at Liquid. They're currently also pulling Lords of Dread. Once again, it's the 3rd time they're trying, I think, or the 4th one. They are playing with 6 players in role play slow, so they are not allowed to run around like most of us would normally do on a boss fight, I'd assume. But they have to slowly walk, and the tanks both have that curse, and then we've seen some other players who also have it. I think JPC is one of them. We're seeing Shakib, who's on that Demon Hunter, has it. We know Sang is on it. So a mix throughout all of the players here that are currently trying to fight off this boss, and actually they look pretty even to Echo right now, who are just finishing off their Among Us intermission.
Yeah, of course, Echo having a little bit of an easier time because they do not have the Fated Curse. They don't have any players RP walking around. So they should be able to deal with this boss a little bit better compared to Liquid. And it's also looking really good. This is their first try on Echo's side, while Liquid already had wiped twice or 3 times already. So yeah, Echo might have the opportunity to catch up here. And they also have an additional lifeline as well that they received because they reached the 2nd checkpoint last.
Oh,
So-
Echo, you gotta activate that Chaotic Essence. Wow, they are last second activating that Chaotic Essence so that they can get it going into this AoE phase. This is really clever from Echo. Got a little bit dangerous because it almost went off, but now they're just gonna get to blast damage during this.
No!
So many debuffs.
There was one going straight through the melee camp, and then people were trying to bring it out, but because everybody was already huddled up for that phase here, because there's a lot of damage incoming, so you need to stack and heal, make it easier for AMZs to come through, for barriers to come through, the SLTs, you are running that Resto Shaman at the moment. So everybody was already in the melee stack, and those debuffs just were transported everywhere, so some people fell victim to that curse, but they got some people back up as well. So right now playing with 18 people, still doable. 17.
We have a very big dodge coming out here for Echo. If they can dodge these 400 swarms that are all coming towards them right now, they should be able to recover a little bit. Meanwhile, Liquid are wiping. More deaths coming in for Echo, though. 6 players now are down. And this actually may start to be untenable for them. They may have to call the wipe here. It looks like that's exactly what they're doing with this many players dead. Both teams are going to give it another go. This is one of those fights where the fact that it's at 280 item level is a big factor. This is a very, very tough numbers fight compared to, say, the mechanics side of things, where it's mostly just individual responsibility.
And we all know how chaotic this fight can be at the very end, when you have all of those puddles, the sleeping puddles covering the room, so you have less and less space. And then you also get more of these green circle debuffs on the ranged players as well. That means there's going to be more green puddles on the ground that you have to dodge as well. And on top of that, you have those 2 fated affixes, which also makes it a bit more chaotic, especially when the chaotic essence spawns and you get all of these modes being activated. There's just so much going on your screen. You might be lagging a bit here and there, and then it's much, much harder to dodge the green puddles on the ground as well, which might result in more of the debuffs being on a raid.
Okay, I just checked something because I saw someone in chat mention it. I wanted to make sure it's correct. So most of the raiders that are participating in this tournament are, of course, streaming as well. Check them out. I would highly recommend doing that. And I went on I'm Fired Up stream, who is playing Esta up for Liquid. That's the mage. And he is not only RP walking, but he is also voluntarily playing in first person. So the players are just running with it, right? Yesterday we had Echo on Sire just doing it for free, having fun with it, playing in that first person. Now Liquid following up with that. So the players are really enjoying these curses. Hello? Okay, just don't talk to me. All right. I thought my connection went out or something.
Great, Rednose. Thanks for asking.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Happy to help anytime.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Oh.
Oh.
Who needs the gameplay?
Yeah.
Oh,
we don't
who
need
needs
to see
us?
Okay,
What is
big
going
shout
on?
out to production, by the way, as well, that had to actually put a lot of work into this. And then we didn't know how fast these teams are going to be clearing the bosses. And yesterday, everything went so quickly that production barely managed to keep up. Today, thankfully, the guilds are wiping on the bosses quite a few times, so they have a little bit of an easier job today.
I mean, they're always doing a fantastic job, so.
That is true.
Suck up.
I mean, you guys won't talk to me. Might as well make new friends.
Both guilds actually on a fairly similar pull here. Both almost 2 minutes in. Echo actually are rather ahead in damage, though. Maybe it's the not RP walking thing that's working out for them. Yeah, they're almost 10% ahead, and their pull is actually started 15 seconds later than Liquid. So I wonder why that's... I mean, maybe it is just the RP walking. Maybe it's some of the spec differences that we're seeing between the two compositions. There's an extra warrior over on the side.
Servo.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Servo's damage mainly comes from the modes, right? I would
Right.
assume. Because, I mean, Destroy is really, really good on Lords of Dread, but not 70k DPS good.
Well,
so I think...
maybe they're getting a 40 stack and Liquid aren't. If you're not getting a 40
Maybe,
stack,
yeah.
that's a huge damage loss, so that might be explaining some of it. Yeah,
I mean, it's not easy, right? Like, especially if you're like a melee that's walking around normally a lot, and you try to like wiggle to the left and right, and you can't strive around because you're RP walking. Maybe you're missing out on some of those direct hits too.
Yeah, for sure. If the melee are the ones choosing to RP walk, I think they're definitely going to be having a lot more downtime than you would usually have whenever they have to bait those puddles. Unless they decide to move the boss with the melee, but that would make the rest of the boss fight more difficult, so I don't know. It also looks like tanks as well goes to RP walk, which makes it a lot harder to move the bosses around.
Yeah. Also, if you're relying on Scott to do most of your damage to the moats, which they were kind of doing in some previous pulls, on this boss you need your tank to be on the other side of the boss than your melee, right? So maybe you're not actually going to get that AoE working out in the same way if it's all being sourced from your tank. That being said, though, Echo already getting some 20% here out of the second AoE phase. This is looking really good for them on the damage meters. They just have to hold on for a little while longer. They can probably kill it before the next AoE phase. If not, 10 seconds into that AoE phase, it will be dead. Liquid also doing well, though. No deaths so far for them. They've nearly got another battle res ready.
Yeah.
Two players going down for Echo, though. One healer and Xervo on that Master Warlock going down. They don't have a battle rest available for another 20 seconds. They're gonna have to finish this boss for a little while with only 18 players alive. And they're gonna get another Among Us phase in just a second. You can see the energy of Contessa close to 100.
They have 4 swarms out. They have to do a really good job of clearing these and not getting hit by any of the extra ones. You can see they're forming up to have those dispels come out during the Among Us phase. And if everybody can dodge here, they should be able to stabilize.
That is a really difficult dodge, but it seems like most of them were able to get through here. Roger has one of the debuffs, but they are able to finish this phase so quickly here and get back to the bosses without spending too much time. That was really, really well executed, and they are now on those final stretches to the boss fight. On the right side of the screen, however, we are seeing that POV that I was talking about. This is Esta up. Notably, I am fired up, as you normally know him, who was here answering the questions, playing in first-person POV on Lords of Dread, as well as RP walking. One of these we made him do. The other one he did on purpose, voluntarily. I just want to say we're not that mean. All right, he gave up just as we were looking. Okay, that was the one he was doing voluntarily.
Yeah, that was
so
my
it's
choice.
Okay. As long as he's still
looks like they
RP
are
walking.
finishing the boss, though.
Yeah.
Ganis and Contessa both on 1%. The swarm's coming out. There we go. Echo did finish the boss first before Liquid, and Echo has an additional lifeline that they said they will be using on Rygalon. That means that they will have 4 of the fated affixes enabled here for Rygalon, which is actually gonna be really good because the 2 affixes that they have given for Rygalon is the Creation Spark and the Protoform Barrier, which means they do not have the Chaotic Essence available on this boss without the lifeline, which I do think is going to give Echo quite a bit of an advantage for this boss.
Liquid also finishing up Lords of Dread right after Echo. Now done with that curse, of course. They don't have that extra lifeline, if I'm not mistaken, so they will have to play Rygalon with the affixes that we put on him, and we're going to see both of these guilds basically pull at the same time.
Yeah, this is definitely a boss they could both one-shot because it is largely based on coordination, on execution, and these are the 2 guilds in the world that were able to kill it without double legendary on the second reset of Mythic Sepulcher. The first one's the first time, so these are the 2 best guilds in the world at this boss by far. It is a very, very tough encounter. Even at 280 item level here, they should be able to get through it if they can keep that level of precision that they got built up on progression.
Yeah, the affixes might cause some issues here or there, right? Because they definitely might get some interesting overlaps if you don't deal with them properly. So we'll see. Echo specifically does have all 4 affixes enabled, while Liquid on the right side only has 2 of the affixes, Creation Spark and Protoform Barrier. And we've already seen teams wipe to the affixes not being dealt with properly. Not dispelling the barrier, not soaking the Creation Spark puddles as well. So we'll see how they deal with it as they use their last immediately on pull for Liquid.
Yeah, whereas it actually looks like Echo are holding the Bloodlust. I imagine this is because they want to save it for when the first moats spawn. They want to use the Lust to make sure they get the 40 stack from the moats, and then they also want that Lust to carry forward and multiply with the 40% damage, or the 80% damage increase that the moats will give them. So that might be something that it may look like Liquid are getting ahead to quite a bit of a lead here. But I think once Echo hits that Bloodlust, they are going to accelerate really hard.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for that moment to come in. You can see they're still trying to play these debuffs out here, doing a fantastic job of that. Soaks coming in as well for Echo, and we are waiting on this Chaotic Essence so they can full send that Bloodlust on the left side of the screen. Right side, we are in that intermission with Liquid. We're currently soaking these little orbs and then going to move on to the third one, and both of these bosses seem to be melting quite quickly.
Yeah, and it looks like the chaotic essence didn't actually spawn at all in that first phase.
Yeah.
Usually most of the affixes happen in the intermission phase. So it looks like they've been saving their cooldowns quite a long time, as they now actually use their Bloodlust. They have the barrier spawn as well, a little bit outside. They have the emitter in the corner as well, so they have to move that into interrupted. There we go.
There are
and
the
they also have the
modes.
essences.
Oh, that's
Okay, watch.
so much at once.
Watch the details here for Echo. Wolf Disco sending out some implosions. Zero also on these moats. There's that 40 stack now with the rest of their lust, and everybody is just doing tremendous amounts of damage. And even though Echo pulled this boss 30 seconds after Liquid, look at that Rygalon health bar just equalize off of the incredible power of just multiplying all of the damage buffs all at the same time for Echo.
Yeah, that's just...
That means that they're gonna have to deal with less mechanics for the rest of the fight, right? Because usually when those two guilds killed the boss the first time around, they just barely managed to kill the boss before the Enrage cast at the very end. But this time, with all of those affixes, surely they're gonna be able to deal with the boss quite a bit quicker, which is gonna make it a lot easier because you have to deal with less of those debuffs, less of the Quasars, maybe even one less intermission phase as well.
Oh!
For Echo, possibly.
A Dark Eclipse did not go down, it looks like, for Liquid, as they are all going to... Well, most of them are going to die here. And that massive bang is going to end it. That pull is over for Liquid. Meanwhile, Echo also having the exact same thing happen.
What?
The Dark Eclipse not making it into the Quasar. I wonder... Okay, so since that happened for both guilds, there's no protoform barriers that spawn during this upstairs phase, right? Because if there were, and they shielded those Quasars, that could explain how both guilds got caught like that. But I feel like all of them just spawn in the downstairs bits.
The Creation Spark debuff isn't going to speed up your
Oh yeah,
debuff?
the tick rate of the Dark Eclipse. Yeah, so maybe you have to get down even faster.
Yeah, that might cause some issues for sure. Because it's already kind of close. The first set of debuffs gets applied to the players before the Quasars are even spawned, and that's why you have to nuke them down really quickly. But if the debuff ticks quicker on you, if you have the Creation Spark debuff, then that might have to be even faster. So maybe they have to... Yeah, I don't know how you would handle that. Maybe only the healers soak the Creation Spark debuffs?
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
They cannot get the Dark Eclipse on them, possibly.
Yeah, or anybody who's already gotten Dark Eclipse can soak one, because you can't get it twice in the same up phase. So, yeah, maybe that is what's causing the problem for them. Or maybe it was just a classic case of Dark Eclipse, mistake happening, which I'm sure has happened. That's happened to both these guilds and to all of ours as well many times. It's a pretty tricky mechanic, and it can be pretty easy to lose track of.
Yeah, I mean, especially like with so many extra nameplates on like chaotic modes or the other fated affixes coming in, you might just get lost on where the puddle is for your Dark Eclipse, and then you step into the wrong one, and then suddenly the one despawns, and you're the last set of Dark Eclipse, and yours isn't available. So it could be many, many things. Let's just wait out and see how this one goes for both teams as they go into the second pull. We have this nice little overlay showing how their first pull went. Echo with 42.6 in comparison to 47.6 with Liquid here side by side racing this Rygalon down. Notably, Echo is holding that Bloodlust like Drapnus explained earlier until the intermission that's now coming in for both teams, so they can full send it with the chaotic modes and get that really nice damage amp onto the entire team with the Bloodlust.
Oh, swag.
Oh, no,
Unfortunate. Last second heroic leap was 1 second too late. They won't be able to res swag until coming out of the intermission as well, because they're in different phases as each other now as well. So they are going to still send, it looks like, the Lust as they did last time, but one less player is actually really painful for this downstairs phase. 2 less players is really bad. Wolf Disco going down as well. They do have a battle res that they're going to send on him, but it looks like he's not accepting it right away. Okay, there he goes.
Yeah, and Wolf Disco is also one of the players that was sending these modes, and you can see they didn't get a lot of stacks this time around. They're just wiping because missing that Damo Warlock on the mode damage there really meant that they were doing a lot less damage, got a lot less of the stacks as well.
They weren't able to charge up all 3 of the cores downstairs as well, which as soon as 1 or 2 players start dying, you need everybody else to be really tightly stacked on those for the whole intermission. It looks like they weren't quite able to get that done before that next Shatter Sphere cast, so they're just going to refeast, go again. not a huge problem for Echo, but Liquid are nearly at 50% on the boss here. This was where they started having problems last time. The Massive Bang #2 cast that you can see coming up in 24 seconds, it was during that time that somebody's Dark Eclipse debuff timed out because they weren't able to get into this set of collapsing Quasars. See how it plays out this time.
Yeah, we're gonna watch those Dark
Fired up, still RP
debuffs
walking.
closely. Yeah, he's toggling it for fun, apparently. Twisted going down here for Liquid, but the rest of the team has managed to go into phase here, and they should have a Battle Res available. I don't know where to find it on Fired Up's Fired Up's overlay here, but I think... No, they actually don't have one. All right. There we go.
Yeah, no battle res, which probably pretty bad, because if you're missing Twisted, that can cause some issues here, especially in the intermission phase, where you have to soak those cores whenever they're exploding. Actually, no, Twisted healing. Okay, yeah, there we go. Then they should be fine.
Yeah.
Having one less healer, I think, is totally doable. Because I think this boss was healed. How many healers did Echo have on the first kill? Was it
Echo 4 healed it on progression.
Birch
yeah,
going down,
Liquid 5
Sang
healed it.
also falling. I mean, you are right. Normally, you don't need 4 healers here, but again, they have that leveled squish of 280, and it looked like that intermission hurt them plenty. Now, on the other side of the screen, Echo is also redoing. Liquid still holding on with those 3 players on the floor. They will get a battle res in 30 seconds. That's still some time to fill up until then, so they have to deal with the eclipses that are now coming in. Don't let any of the Quasars go into the boss here, and it looks like they can do just that. It was a little bit close for one of them, but they are doing a fantastic job of rounding up what is going on here. We can see Splat running up with the Eclipse looking for one of those puddles. Did he find one? It looked like a despawn right in front of his face, but I think he probably found it.
It's just so much damage in a group coming out as well. Everyone dropping so low with that one less healer that they have. Having Scott actually going down to this is a full wipe, as it looks like another Eclipse went off there. So yeah, both of the guilds having a lot of issues. But yeah, I mean, Echo especially, because they have that lifeline activated, it's they technically should be able to deal with this boss a bit quicker. But of course, it also adds another difficulty to the boss, having to deal with all of those affixes in the mission phase. So there we go, another pull by Echo. Again, they're saving their bloodlust for all of those affixes to spawn in the downstairs phase. So we'll see how to deal with it this time.
Oh, Ryson nearly gets knocked off the platform, but a great rocket jump, it looked like, saved him at the end there.
That's the Disc Priest speciality. Now I think Ryzen is playing Holy Priest here, but I'm gonna keep on saying it's a Disc Priest speciality. But yeah, lots of knocks on this boss here. Need to be a little bit careful. We can see Gingy soaking the orb that has spawned here in front of the unstable matter, and Salta, who's currently in the lower phase, I'd say, dealing with it, dealing some damage to it. It's down to 9%, looking pretty good. Yeah, it spawns. Everybody can go into the soaks here and go into the intermission as well. Hopefully no unlucky last second leaves. We saw Canix just Dora shattering in, but it all worked out.
And there we go. Now there's going to be all of the affixes spawning. You can already see the protoform barrier being dispelled. There's the chaotic essence being gripped in as well by Ryzen. And now they have to finish up those modes and also soak the unstable matters as well. Make sure that they're not wiping. Bloodlust being used too. And you can see how much damage they're doing to these modes. Actually, I'm not sure if they get the 40 stack this time around, as it looked like the boss wasn't necessarily being tanked that close to the modes. But at the very end, Servo and Wolf Disco did pop up all the way up on that damage meter, so maybe they got a lot of stacks anyway. I can't see the number quite on the screen. But yeah, the boss is really low already,
40,
53%. After they're all 40. There we go. Alright, so they did manage to get the maximum amount of damage.
No!
But there we go! Another full wipe by Echo. Maybe another Dark Eclipse going off, because those Quasars were already there.
Yeah, I wonder if that is what we're seeing. If it is the chaotic essence maybe speeding up the Dark Eclipse that's causing the problems. Or not the chaotic essence, rather, but the soaks, right?
Creation Spark.
Creation Spark. Has that been active on this boss yet on the live servers?
I
don't think so, right? Yeah, so because I'm not 100% sure how that interacts, but that might be the challenge
it makes
here.
Time tick faster, and that
Yeah.
usually goes for everything. And I think it might also make the eclipse tick faster, but I think at this point they know, so... is it just I think we can play it and we'll figure it out instead of playing it safe and missing out on that extra buff?
Well, the affix is always there. Like, you can't get rid of that affix, even though Echo have used their
you
lifeline.
could send like healers in, or
Yes,
like tanks,
yeah.
because they don't get the eclipse.
Yeah, I think that might be the safe play here, but it is very hard to give up that damage, of course.
That's what I was saying. Like they don't
Yeah,
want
they
to.
might
They
just
don't
make
want
the
to
call.
sacrifice the buff.
Yeah,
because
I
they
think that is a
they
good
can
call.
figure
though.
it out.
Yeah, because they could technically soak it, and even though the debuff disappears quicker, they could just call, okay, just kill the Quasars even faster then, right? To compensate for the debuff ticking down quicker. But now that they wiped to it twice, maybe they are going for the more safer strat that we talked about with the tanks and the healers only soaking. Then at the same time, it might actually be difficult to only have tanks and healers soak, right? Because you can't have any of those paddles go off. All of them need to be soaked. And the healers have a hard time on this boss already, having to heal the group. So if they have to run around and find those puddles, and the tanks also are not so free with their movement either, maybe not even that easy for them. We'll see.
I mean, I have to quote a healer that I was doing, that I was raiding with when this boss came out. And he was saying that this boss, and I quote, is completely free as a healer because you don't get any mechanics. So, I don't know, is it really that hard to step into a puddle you would probably like to step in anyways because it gives you a little buff?
I don't think it's that hard. It's just you have a lot less players, and then you know how it is. This was the problem with Sludgefist as well, right? On Sludgefist you had to soak all of these puddles, and it's not that people are unable to go into the puddle. It's just that you can't perfectly assign it, and then you might have multiple people in the same puddle, and no one is in the other puddle. So if you have less players soaking them, it might cause some confusion. But we'll see if they even decide to do that strategy at all. This would be the point where they're doing it. You can see the Creation Spark is being up on Echo on 2 of the players. And it looks like they're not dispelling it just yet. There we go, 1 dispel is coming out. They did not decide to only have healers and tank soak it. Everyone is going into those puddles. So we'll see. They're the Dark Eclipse. That means that those debuffs are probably ticking quicker. So that means they have to deal with those Quasars super fast.
Yeah, Wolf Disco got one, so that worked out very good. Need to really, really nuke those Quasars as soon as they spawn, but it seems like they figured a way how to do just that. Now on the right side of the screen, same thing happening. They don't have the lifeline, so less affixes for Liquid here, but they are also in that second intermission. They are spawning that extra debuff here right now, and Quasars are coming in just a little bit for them. Here's the Dark Eclipse debuffs. You can see them ticking on Atlas right now, and here comes the Quasars. They need to be killed immediately for the people with the debuffs to be able to step in and not blow up the raid group.
Oh no, players going down here for Echo. Mira's barely clinging on to life. Narco going down though. 1 battle res is available. This massive bang, though, are they actually going to be able to kill that unstable matter? No, not in time.
Look like it. Oh, who didn't hit the matter?
I'm gonna check that details enemy damage taken right now.
I guess another thing I didn't really think about, if you go downstairs, so let's say you have the Creation Spark buff that everything moves quicker for you, are you also going to be downstairs for less amount of time? Meaning that you have less time to do damage to the unstable matter there, possibly?
Yeah, that seems like a potential downside. Maybe this Creation Spark is just extremely cursed, and you want to actually have it get soaked by exactly 1 person each time.
Yeah.
That does sound like...
it feels like it. So teams are probably figuring this out on the get-go. But like you were saying, Liquid on that final sprint here, they have to deal with the fated affixes one more time as they come in this intermission. The barrier has a spawn and they nuking it very, very easily. Good job now soaking these debuffs here. 12% on the boss. The raid group is taking some significant damage, but they should be able to get through this here. Twisted going down. Ben now also dropping impact. Podrat, JPC, all of them are low. Atrocity going down. THD has met the floor. Everybody's struggling here, but they managed to come out of this intermission, and it's 7% on Rygalon. I think they can do it here. Dark Eclipse one more time. Need to make sure they kill these Quasars really quickly for the two players in the melee range that want to soak them here. But I think this is a kill. 4% to go on Rygalon. Looking really good for Liquid.
They have to do one more set of Dark Eclipse, it looks like, as the Quasars are spawning. And the bosses...
Oh no! Ben! Ben, you gotta get over the finish line!
Soloing the boss here!
You can do it!
Alright, Ben. A lot of
Yes,
the
Guardian
Quasars
Spirit.
are reaching the boss here. Guardian Spirit still
Nick
up
has
on Ben as
rest!
well.
Nick has rest! He's here to help!
Hit him!
Oh no!
Oh no! Rygalon.
Disaster for Liquid.
Oh, we'll need to get an admin to let us know exactly how much health that boss had right at the end there, because that must have been in the 0.2%, we're being told. So in the tens of thousands, perhaps. Very, very low. A couple more globals and they would have got through, but here go Echo again. In that first intermission, hitting that Bloodlust, doing as much damage as they can to the boss here, with all of the power of the 4 fated affixes.
I'm so upset right now.
I was just about to say, was it the correct choice for Echo to use a lifeline on this boss? Considering that Liquid killed the boss, but then they didn't, so now we'll see if Echo manages to actually deal with it.
I think it's the correct play, because you get through this boss quicker for sure. I think maybe with the creation spark, if that's really what's going on, we're just spitballing, right? But if that's what's going on, it added more difficulty that they were not expecting. But that's a mechanic this boss has, whether or not you lifeline him. So I think the lifeline is still the correct choice here.
Yeah, the more I watch this, the more I think that you really don't actually need to optimize the damage on Rygalon, right? If you optimize the damage, you're going to kill it, right at the start or right before that last massive bang. If you don't, you're going to kill it 15 seconds into the massive bang. There's not really a difference there. I think the metric that you're looking for is safety. I think that's what they should all be all about. But safety, damage is nice because you're killing the Quasars more quickly. But if you're just using the extra damage from the Fated powers to nuke the boss more quickly, I don't actually think that really increases your chances of killing the boss on any given pull.
Yeah, I think it might have been another case of the creation spark interfering with
Right.
the cooldown timers there as well, or the debuff timers rather, at the very end there for Liquid. So they have to pay attention to that again. It looks like Liquid is dealing with it a little bit better, at least compared to Echo, because they did manage to get the boss lower. So I mean, oh no, but Liquid having another full wipe there on their
So messed up,
side.
Nagura. Caster cursing.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Echo though, looking pretty good. The boss already on 34%. They are in that second intermission phase now. And they have another Creation Spark debuff right there. So maybe they want to deal with this. Let's see how they deal with it. As Lordak is actually going down, and everyone is incredibly low.
I'm sorry, I'm just feeling for these healers as they have to struggle with these 10% health bars on what feels like the entire raid group. That is so intense for them to figure out here, but they are doing a fantastic job bringing 19 people back here. Lorgox will stay on the floor for just a little bit, 25 seconds until that battle rest is available, and they will now deal with more debuffs. Dark Eclipse coming in just a little bit. Quasars are also here. Players need to get in and get in quickly to get those debuffs out of the way to not explode in the raid, and that is exactly what they're looking to do.
Yeah, these Moon Kids must feel so good right now that they get to do damage, because back on progression, they were pressing Heart of the Wild and healing their butts off during this phase, but now they just get to do damage finally as the healing check has gotten a little bit less intense. They do need to make sure they get downstairs into these Quasars quickly, though. You can see that debuff starting to expire on players. Everybody getting very low. Knex going down.
No!
Going down, and then the Dark Eclipse exploding off of him. Unfortunate for Echo. They are going to mass res and give it another swap. Meanwhile, over for Liquid, they are right near the start of another pull. So far, no deaths for them. Things looking a little bit cleaner.
See, I was not ready for that much pain and Race to World First flashbacks going into this charity event. I'm actually feeling with these players here as they wipe on like 0% We can see an angel here for Liquid. Sarah has gone down as they enter the intermission, and that is a go again for them as they do not have a battle rush. They don't want to play this with only 3 healers, saying that right now, setting a statement, going back in. Now, Echo is on pull number 7, currently pull timer running up. Liquid is on pull number 5 as they killed Lords of Dread just a little bit after Echo. And teams are currently waiting for the respawn on the right side and just starting the fight on the left side.
Yeah, let's take a look if they managed to finish off the boss this time around. Both of the teams were pretty close to get this boss down, and really just one more set of debuffs that they have to deal with there at the very end. So we'll see if they manage. Again, different strategy between Echo and Liquid because they have the different fated affixes. Echo has all 4 of the affixes enabled with their lifeline that they had available because they reached the second checkpoint last. And Liquid only having those 2 fated affixes available for them. So that means Echo is saving their Bloodlust for the first intermission phase, because all of the affixes are actually spawning there at the very same time. They get the barrier, they get the emitter, they also get the chaotic essence and the debuffs all overlapping, which means that Bloodlust timing is really, really beneficial for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's absolutely the right play from Echo here. But once again, we're going to see the side-by-side. Liquid on the right side with that Bloodlust right away, and Echo who are holding on. Now Echo already in the intermission phase. Liquid will reach that in a little bit. That unstable matter still needs some extra loving before they can go there. But they are on their way for sure. Now Echo is in that phase, and we can just see how much damage is coming in there. It is so intense of what they need to heal. Bloodlust now being popped, and just keep those health bars in your eyes, right? Like, that is the most important thing. You don't want to lose players here. This is the damage spike of your fight with that Bloodlust and all of those chaotic mode essences, and you definitely don't want to lose out on anyone's DPS.
Yeah, this with 4 healers is looking so sketchy. Trying to make sure that they can survive towards the end of the fight. Right now, it's all looking good, right? Right now, with the Bloodlust, everything is fine for both teams, but towards the end of the fight, that damage is just getting so intense. It looks like the plan for Echo might be just, hey, if we do enough damage, maybe we can just kill this boss like really early into the last phase. I'm not sure how feasible that will be, though. They got it really low, 8.7% last time. But Liquid, of course, even lower at that 0.2% wipe, that Heartbreaker.
Yeah, and I just saw how one of the Moonkins there for Echo just barely managed to get into the Quasar puddle to make sure they don't explode the debuff onto the grate. Because of the Creation Spark debuff, again, lowering all of the timers. So it's active cooldowns, but also debuffs that are being lowered and duration being shorter, which makes it a little bit harder, but also gives them more damage, of course. As Echo is about to reach that second intermission, it looks like they did manage to finish off the matter, but Liquid having another full team wipe there, it looks like another one of those debuffs going off onto the group, which means that they're gonna have to go again. Echo though looking a bit better, but 2 of their players went down as well. Both Clix and Swag going down as he used one of the battle rasts on their warriors. It means Clix is going to be dead for quite a while as there's no Ankh available either. No. Look how much damage everyone's taking!
Oh,
as
no!
It looks like they're just going to lose even more players. Wow. So they
Do you just commit at this point? It looks like they're committing. No, they're
Nope,
running off.
No, they're not. Okay.
30% still a little bit high. Well, the problem with this fight is if you have a couple people dead during the upstairs phase, it starts to be really hectic. You start not having enough damage for the Quasars. And if you have people dead in the downstairs phase, you don't have enough people to charge the downstairs cores as well. So 19, 18 people, those are doable numbers. But much less than that, and it starts to be really, really bad. Looks like the ready check's coming out here for both teams. Liquid pulling once again, hitting the Bloodlust. Again, just need to replicate what they got on that 0.2% pull, but do about 0.2% better.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to do. Thank you for that, Mathnos, for figuring out that math for all of us, because, you know, we couldn't. Appreciate that. But, yeah.
Atlas actually cranking out some damage there on that Night Fae Frost DK. Not a spec that we see an awful lot of these days, although actually just does so much damage. Now Sang and Birch, the Moonkin gang, coming up to the top of the meters as their ramps end. The boss already nearly at 3/4 health here. A good opening lust from Liquid.
Ooh, it looks like Echo making some changes to their strategy as they're switching to 5 healers, which I think makes sense for Echo, considering that they have all of the affixes enabled. That means that they're gonna have more damage, right? So in return, they can play a bit safer and have that 5th healer.
Yeah, bringing in an extra healer seems really good if you can. Problem is, like, you'd have to, okay, it would have to be impact swapping on Liquid, right?
Yeah.
Does Impact have Resto set up? Is that something that that they are ready to do?
I mean, they probably didn't expect it going into this day that they would need 5 healers. So maybe it's not set up. But then again, maybe you can just quickly set it up, possibly? And it looks like they're changing tack, right? We just saw only 4 people going into that Creation Spark soak for Liquid.
Yeah, this seems like the play, right? You just want to avoid having that debuff on too many people because you don't want time to be sped up for anybody that can be involved in the Dark Eclipses.
There we go, another set of Quasars and Dark Eclipses going out on the group. Looks like they're fine so far though, but they need to make sure the Quasars are dying at the correct moment to make sure everyone can get into those pedals. THD immediately linking into one of those pedals that was still on the ground from the previous set. So really well done by THD, immediately reacting to make sure that pedal doesn't disappear. And the unstable matter is on 18%. So they should be okay to finish it off on the next one before the massive bang comes out. And there we go, Echo now on the left with their 5th healer that they traded in. So it's Scaris on the...
Liquid.
It's actually Kanex that is healing on that Venthyr. Do it.
Wow,
Yeah,
Liquid
I'm just
so close to disaster there. Beautiful battle res, though.
In the intermission right now, more damage is yet to come right for them. I'm not sure they're in a comfortable position to get all of that incoming AoE damage onto the entire group, as players are not above 80% just going in here, except for the obvious cases like some Warlocks. This intermission is going to be very rough for Liquid.
Yeah, tremendous pain here. You can see all the damage across the group. Luckily, they do have a little bit of value from the Protoform Barrier buff that's making their healing damage and their max HP actually a little bit better, so letting them get through that, and then you can see they are doing the Dispel here. Actually, still, most players are soaking those the soaks there and getting that CDR, time speed up effect on themselves.
I'm so stressed, I'm sorry.
Dark Eclipses work out for them as they are on the players now. It looks like they dealt with the first set of Dark Eclipses just fine. Now they get the Soaks, and the last 2 Quasars that they're going to be saving for the second set of Eclipses are now going down as well. As Echo on the left side did have their first intermission, but Liquid actually taking so much damage on that second Unstable Matter Soak here as well. And everyone's dropping so incredibly low with the 4 healers that they have available on their roster only. The next set of debuffs is about to happen as well, and the last set of soaks going out as well. You can see THD taking the furthest one in the back, using Unending Resolve as well to make sure he is going to be fine. And it looks like they might have dealt with most of the dark... Actually, Splat still has a debuff right there.
He's in his pod!
Oh, no, he's Splat in a pod!
Oh.
I was like, why is Splat not moving? I can see the debuff, but then he was actually in the hot tender and was not able to move into the Quasar puddle. Unfortunate for Liquid right there.
Tremendous pain for Liquid. Whew. That would have been a spot. I wonder if there was a life grip they were trying to set up to bring him through there. That would have been good.
Yeah, maybe not even having the life grip available because of the... Actually, no, there are no modes, right? Yeah, I was thinking that maybe they used it on the Chaotic Essence, but they don't have Chaotic Essence on Liquid side. So.
Yeah. So Liquid seeming to have some little tech talk here, figuring out what to do. We saw them change their technique a little bit, where not everybody would soak those creation sparks, as they seem to also speed up the Dark Eclipse debuff. So maybe they're figuring out some more details about that as they are pulling Rygolon now for the 8th time. Neko is also on their 8th pull right now.
Mini actually going down there for Echo, but they did have a Battle Rest available, so they got them back up immediately. There we go, another Creation Spark debuff on 2 of their players. This spell coming out, it looks like most of the raid is still soaking it. They're going to be getting another set of Dark Eclipses. There we go, it is being applied to the players. Quasars are going to be spawning in just a second as well. Let's see if they manage to finish off the Quasars fast enough. It looks like they're even using knocks like Typhoons to get them closer to the boss as soon as they're spawning, to make sure they go down in time. So really well done. Looks like they dealt with the first set of Dark Eclipses just fine. There's going to be a second set being applied in just a second. There it is. So let's see if they deal with this one as well. Plus the soak needs to happen at the same time too. And the unstable matter is still pretty high. They are nuking it now, so the last set of Dark Eclipses needs to deal with 25% of the matter, which can be pretty difficult depending on which classes go down.
We can see Wolf Disco getting one of these Dark Eclipse debuffs. He was still soaking. The orb he has procced here is in the pod.
Oh, Ryzen going for it.
Grip him.
Oh,
Ryzen.
genius maneuver.
What a hero. That was
Oh my god, that was last second as well. That was actually so beautifully done by Echo there. By Ryzen specifically, getting that grip on Wolf Disco to save their try. And this might actually be the kill. Wow, that was such a hero play.
He's
Well
gonna
done.
get, like, if they don't give him, like, some special, I don't know, order him a meal home or something. I don't know. He carried that hard. That was such a good play. It cannot be overstated.
And it
That
looks
was
like they might
beautiful.
just be
And Rygolon's also
committing.
incredibly low.
They're not even, it looks like they're not even soaking the downstairs cores. They're literally just committing to boss before this Shatter Sphere cast finishes. Is it going to be enough? Wow,
Yeah.
that was a close commit. Incredible call from Echo to make that work out. Well
Beautiful.
played.
Play by Ryzen there. I mean, absolutely incredible pre-script there to
Shout-outs.
save the try.
Unbelievable.
The
I
same
cannot
thing
believe
happened
that
for
worked
both
out.
Liquid and Echo, right? And Liquid unfortunately did not manage to deal with it, and Echo did, so there we go. But now Jailer. Oof, Jailer could be pretty difficult as well with the affixes that they have on that boss.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest bosses to ever be created in World of Warcraft, Jailer. So we'll see how it works out once Echo get to it. But for now, we have Liquid on a pretty good attempt here as well on Rygolon still. They have one battle res available. They're nearly finished up here. They just have 2 more of these massive bangs to get through, and they should be okay. We are going to make a brief swap of casters now as we get into the final stretch here of our day. We'll be saying farewell for now to Nagura and Makes, and welcoming back Xyronic and Krista for the very end of our day here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
And hello, Xy'mox as well. Alright, well, I can't hear Xy'mox, so... Xy'mox, if you can hear me and that's news to you, then we have a small problem. A guild that doesn't seem to have a small problem, though, is Liquid here, working on their Rygolon. 33%. Their next battle res will be up in 30 seconds. They just have to get these Quasars dealt with and get their players with Dark Eclipse downstairs.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had taken a brief break and gotten away from my desk. So, in your view here, what is like the biggest thing that they seem to be struggling with trying to kill this boss right now?
So the problem here is that the Chaotic Essence in particular seems like it's really interfering with the ability to get the Dark Eclipses down into the collapsing Quasars. You can see sometimes those Dark Eclipses just end up going off. So that seems like problem number one. Problem number two is they're playing 4 healers on a fight that at 280 item level, 4 healing is pretty tricky on Rygolon. So those have seemed to contribute to most of the wipes here. Liquid did get really close a few pulls ago, 0.2%, but Echo already checking up for the Jailer. This is the hardest fight still in the raid. I mean, it has been nerfed several times since Echo got the world first on it, but it is still a really challenging fight, and they are coming in here at 280, either 280 or maybe we've bumped them up now, item level. So still a very tricky encounter, right, Zyro?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think we've bumped them up just yet. I think they're still at the 280 mark. I think the plan was like if either of the teams had 10 wipes on one boss, then they would think about bumping it up, but I think Echo was able to kill it off before that mark, so should be okay. Let's see. I feel like this should be a little easier, right? I don't know.
I was wondering that too. I'm a bit curious about that myself because I feel like if you had to compare the two, Rygolon feels a little bit more like an eye level check comparatively to Jailer. So this one is definitely a bit more about execution in my opinion. And the two affixes that they're dealing with on this boss is reconfiguration and
oh no, Soul. Oh,
Zoro too happened to him too. Both of them? Wait, 4 players dead on the first set of
Okay.
Oh, okay. You know what I think happened here? Okay, so everyone remembers the first week of Jailer, right? First week of Mythic Jailer when we had Creation Spark as our affix, and the time dilation effect made the debuff go faster. I think they jumped in early, assuming it still works that way, but we've received word that they have hot-fixed the way Creation Spark works on Jailer. It doesn't reduce the cooldown of most debuffs on the fight anymore, so all of them should behave normally. But they all jumped in early, assuming that they would behave like they did the first week they came in here on the Fated Affix, and 4 of them died because of it.
Alright, so here's the item level situation. We bumped Liquid up to 285 item level, and then once Liquid gets to Jailer, we will bump Echo up as well to 285. But Echo are doing a couple pulls here on 280 item level against the Jailer. So yeah, relearning, as you said, the bomb Creation Spark overlap is going to be something they'll have to quickly relearn. I feel like that's something that you only have to do for one pull, though, before you kind of figure it back out, right?
And there's nothing wrong with some people that maybe take more than one pull.
Yeah, hopefully for Echo, that's something that they don't have to deal with. But it's a tough mechanic, that's for sure. Here comes that first knockback or gateway out of the fight for Echo. This is an extremely scripted fight, but the script has actually changed a little bit since Echo's World First. The number of blood pools on the fight has changed quite a bit since back then. So you can see they're sort of snaking around in a way it's pretty similar to how they initially killed the boss, but right now it used to be that they'd split into a melee and ranged group and do a melee blood soak and a ranged blood soak. Don't have to do that anymore. There's less blood puddles, and so they're able to just have the whole raid stack up, get their buffs nicely, line of sight the Jailer here, and keep on moving for the next phase.
I feel like with how many times the boss has been nerfed and adjusted, it's probably easier to list how many mechanics haven't been changed at this point, but
That is true. Yeah, the fight was very, very heavily nerfed compared to its original iteration. Even things like this blood-soaking mechanic here. Every time this line hits the middle of the middle Azeroth, it heals for 7 energy now, whereas back in progression it healed for like 3.5 energy per tick. So you don't even have to get every tick into the middle anymore, whereas on progression, if you missed a single tick, it was a wipe and you had to start over again. So it's very, very forgiving now compared to what it used to be. That being said, there are still mechanics that could straight up one-shot your raid. Even, you have to take into account the fact that they also are only 280 item level, whereas most people are now clearing this fight with, low 300 item levels. So less HP to wiggle around with there. So, a couple bombs don't go in the holes, or not enough people soak that puddle. Insta one-shot on the raid, and you gotta go again.
All right, here comes the next set of bombs. Jailer's sitting at 76% health. This is good damage for Echo so far. They're on pace to kill the fight, although at 280 item level, they're not going to, turbo Zerg through it, right? They're going to still have to deal with most of the early Phase 3 mechanics that a lot of guilds are now able to skip on live with full gear. They're refreshing, actually not even refreshing, they're just getting back up to a 3-stack of their Azerite buff here. It is possible to bring that up. Actually, you can see some of them do have the 5 and 6 stacks. Some of them are just sitting on a 3-stack, so that is nice. That is extra damage if you can get all the way up to 6. It just takes a little bit more damage to do it.
Yeah. The other thing that's funny about this fight that we didn't see at all in progression is that players have so much damage now with the Fated Affix, with the 7% damage amp per stack instead of the 3%, that people are actually pushing phases based off of boss HP now, instead of just, phasing them based off of time like it was originally done. Because the boss insta-phases into Phase 2 at 60% HP, and insta-phases into Phase 3 at 30% HP. So if you push the boss that low, you could phase in a really bad spot in the room, but I don't think at this item level they're going to worry too much about that.
Yeah, 67% at the push it's good, but it's not like we're blasting this boss at a pace that we have to worry about pushing Phase 3 too early. So does seem like Echo are on pace here. This is one of the trickiest phases of the fight, though. Phase 2 has so much damage going out during it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Looks like as well they have a really good time to dispel the Creation Spark there as well. Just before they get into this phase where they have to avoid the Beyblades. They have a lot of time where they can just sit there and damage the boss. So far it looks like, honestly, the affixes aren't really causing too much of issues here, whereas on Rygalon it felt like it was definitely something you had to actively prepare for. I know we haven't seen the full fight yet, but so far it hasn't really been looking like it's causing too many issues for them.
Yeah, I was really worried about Creation Spark on this fight, but as long as you can find the good times to dispel, it seems like it's not too bad, and they are doing a good job of that as they get this next set of mind controls coming out. Lorgok and Salta quickly broken back out. They're also having their tank players bringing that blast over and keeping those pillars destroyed. A lot going on here. You can see Roger Brown nearly getting hit by those projectiles coming across the room. That Decimator. A lot easier of a mechanic. That used to knock back as well. It used to knock you back when it landed on the floor. This guild was progressing on that fight while it did that, but nowadays it just does a bunch of damage to everybody instead, so a little bit more merciful of a mechanic as they make their way over to the last part of Phase 2.
Still gotta watch out for that flail, though.
Yeah, the line between the Jailer and the Swirly is one of the most lethal things in this fight, and that will still absolutely one-shot you.
Yeah, but you gotta make the call. If it's a far Decimator, you gotta make sure people know there's a flail, too. Decimator with flail? With flail? Watch the flail? You gotta say it 3 times, too, because you gotta be like a PvPer, Everyone can call it 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of PvPers, if you've enjoyed this little one-off event, we do have another one coming up soon, the Solo Shuffle Showdown. That's coming up with 36 players that are going to be solo shuffling somewhat competitively for a nice prize pool as well. So make sure you hit subscribe and stuff, stay tuned, and catch when that comes out. Ooh, everybody's dropping really low here for Echo. Looks like they're stabilizing in an AMZ here. I think they're going to be okay.
I think they're going into this with all their battle reses too, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I mean this is essentially over at this point, because once you get to the end of Phase 2, the fight just
Well,
dies? Because Phase
There-
3 and Phase 4 used to be like a combined 4.5, 5 minutes together, but now they're like a minute. So let's look at the timer here. 6 minutes, 7 seconds when they push into Phase 3. All right.
they do have
6 minutes
Bloodlust as
50.
well. So I wonder if one thing you can do on this fight is you can hit Bloodlust and try and just push the Jailer instantly down to 15% and start that last phase. I think at 280 item level, at 35% on the push, they actually should just do the first set of ads instead and should hold this Bloodlust.
Probably.
Yeah, so we'll see. That does look like what they're planning on. The boss just whacks the middle of the room, and Narco and Tobo both going down. Frago also, they're going to have to choose who to res here, and instantly things are starting to get very dangerous in this last phase.
It's got to be the warrior, right? Boss will be an execute for the rest of the fight? Yeah, okay. Alright, here we go. Desolation. They'll be channeling that first line here as well, giving themselves 21% damage amp. Any second now.
Yeah, they're not even bothering to heal Azeroth with this because they know they're going to push out of this phase before Azeroth's health gets too low. So they are doing okay. Here comes that Defile. As soon as that comes out, they are gatewaying out, and this is going to be the set of ads. Look for a lot of defensives and healer cooldowns to come out right now.
I'm actually surprised how little that did.
Yeah, you can pretty much stack 2 people together now. That doesn't do enough damage, but here we go. They're going to extend that debuff to 6 stacks. There you go. They have 6 stacks on most people in the raid. Bloodlust has popped. Everyone's doing 40% more damage. And then, of course, once they phase here 15%, they'll get another set of those affixes in Phase 4. And this boss is going to get completely melted with that lust and 40% damage amp. This boss is not long from the world.
Death sentence going out there on Frago. They just have to make sure that he stays alive, or worst case, that he dies where people can catch the death sentence soaks. There's the meteor cleave, very low. There's the death sentence actually going to die on Frago. Everybody's just soaking these to make sure that they don't cause a wipe, because if one of those swirlies goes unsoaked, it is over. You can see 4 people have death sentence now, but it is okay because the boss is at 3%. They make their way into the corner of the room, and that is going to be it. A nice kill of the Jailer by Echo. Very well played.
Yeah, I think Xyro definitely had the idea there. Jailer was easier. Not only easier, that was like significantly easier. It honestly just looked like we were watching a normal Mythic rekill.
Yeah, meanwhile, Liquid are, it looks like, on pretty good pace to beat their Ragolon, at least here. Get on the board with that one. This is something that they were doing really well throughout the day here, but this Ragolon boss has been really, really nasty. They are going to get out of that last phase, though, and I think they should be okay to burn it down from here. So Liquid also putting up a tremendously impressive showing.
It's pretty cool if we see a kill right here, because it's kind of like they did the reverse, where Echo on their prog kill did 4 heal, and on this event they did 5, and now we're seeing a reverse of it here, where they stuck to their 4 heal. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, down it goes. Liquid getting Ragolon down, and I'm not sure. We'll see if they want to give Jailer a pull or two, but I suspect they probably won't. It does look like that is going to finalize our donations to the charities as well. Echo's charity, Direct Relief, which is a charity whose mission is to improve the health and lives of people affected by poverty or emergencies without regard to politics, religion, or ability to pay, which you can learn more about at directrelief.org. They are going to be getting sent $60,000 by Echo's performance here. Team Liquid, on the other hand, we're supporting the AbleGamers charity, which creates opportunities that enable play in order to combat social isolation, foster inclusive communities, and improve the quality of life for people with disabilities. You can learn more about that at ablegamers.org. They will be getting $40,000 sent their way, thanks to the heroic efforts of Team Liquid.
Good causes all around. Love it when we can send money to charity for a fun event like this. And of course, both guilds always working their hardest to get money for charity whenever they put on their own events too, so love to see more of that.
Yeah, absolutely great that they were able to get to do this. It's really fun as well to get to see the players jumping through all the hoops that we gave them as part of this event. My personal favorite, it must have been the RP walking and the first-person cameras. I think those are, especially when the players just voluntarily decided to add extra RP walking and first-person cameras because they started doing it and they were like, actually, this is kind of fun. I'll do this for fun on the next full.
Yeah, I think all of the added ideas were really cool for the curses, but I think the ones that you can like visually see on the screen, I agree, were like the more fun ones to watch. I still like the zoomed in screen the most, but the RP walk I think is probably my second as well. Yeah, those were definitely pretty cool. I wish with like the trinket one, the trinket removal, we could almost like see the difference, but that would be a bit harder to like show on a screen like this. So definitely really fun to watch.
Yeah, playing without trinkets must have been pretty challenging, but was pretty hard to see, of course. Yeah, of all the bosses, I was excited to see the double faded powers on some of these as well. Some of the bosses as well with 4 faded powers looked really fun. I'm looking forward to, on the live servers next week, which we announced as part of this event, it'll be optional, but you can actually play with 2 faded powers on live starting next week. It does look like, however, we have our 2 interviewees hopping on now. We have Sanghelios from Team Liquid and Scripe from Echo. Hello, can you guys hear us?
Hello.
Hey guys.
Hello. Hey, congratulations to both of you for an event very well run. Congratulations, Scripe, of course, for the win there at the end.
Thank you, dude. It was a good event. Very well done. I think the tuning on this one was like, it was on point.
Yeah, Sepulcher is a lot different at the same item level. It's night and day.
We noticed that.
I didn't expect, actually. I told the stream that it's going to be probably over in 2 hours. You know, we didn't up it. It will be easy. But no, it was not.
What do you think?
Yeah,
of
what
that,
was the most surprising boss for you? Ended up being harder than you thought.
I don't know. I mean, we were like, I say Lords of Dread was a little harder than I expected because it's like, you know, it's an easy boss.
You were RP walking during that, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think our wipes were necessarily to that. It was just kind of I honestly can't remember, but it was a rough boss for us, for sure. Raglan, we didn't have we probably would have wanted to add an extra healer, but we couldn't. So I think that was all right though.
Yeah, for us, I think, like, I don't know which one was harder initially, but Jailer was much easier than I expected, actually.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And yeah.
Yeah, I saw like you guys were already done with the Jailer once like the item level went up or something like that.
Yeah, it was one shot. Actually,
like a one shot,
not
like,
one shot. Close. Maybe we're surprised.
Like...
It got hotfixed mainly. The bombs no longer get affected by the time dilation thing. We were surprised that everybody jumped down way too early.
No, I was just going to ask, when you had to give when you had to choose which players to give the curse to, what were your reactions to that for the players chosen?
Oh, I volunteered. I was like, it sounded fun. I wanted to do it. I think Fired Up volunteered too. We had a bunch of people just volunteer with the RP walking.
Was it the same over on Echo's side? Because I heard there was some grumbling from Echo towards like Roger when he got so many questions wrong and made so many people go in first person.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I wasn't mad at Roger or something. I would have said the same answers, but or well, close. Yeah, I was a bit scared, let's say, when I heard we're gonna have this many people first personing on Stone Legions as well. You know, it's rough.
All right, well, thanks to both of you for a great event. Very well run, very well played, and congratulations for raising so much money for your wonderful causes. We hope we get to do something like this again, but yeah, for now, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Love you guys. And the event.
Likewise, it was a great event.
All right, that was Scripe and Sanghelios. Scripe from Echo, raid leader. Sanghelios from Liquid, Moonkin, but don't hold it against him.
It's not as
They were, well,
no,
debatable.
It is.
Yeah.
Scratch that. I didn't say anything.
At the end of the day, we did raise a large amount of money there for both of their charities, so all the wipes were for a good cause. All the Rygalon pain was for a good cause.
Mm-hmm. And remember, even though one team might have performed better, the real winners here are the charities on screen right now. 100,000 split between them. Love to see that.
Yeah, I will say Rygalon did look like quite a bit of a winner as well. I was impressed, like they were saying about how quickly Jailer ended up going down, although I do think it makes sense when you think about it, how that one ended up actually being a little bit less of like a numbers check than the Rygalon and Lords. I also really enjoyed Castle Nathria yesterday. I thought it was fun to get to see those bosses as well. Were there any bosses that were favorites for any of you that we got to see over these past couple days? Any maybe fun interactions with the Fated powers? Or, of course, the Fated curses we gave them?
I'm a little disappointed that we couldn't get Sanctum of Domination because I would have loved to see a 4-affix Fate Scribe. I feel like that could have been really funny. But that also might not have been the best thing to see a guild wipe on one boss for forever, so... We also only had 2 days to run the competition, so, gotta keep it concise.
Yeah, I think I definitely preferred Sepulcher, just because, like, the race felt a lot more closer. It's like, Echo was ahead, and then Liquid, like, shotgunned ahead, and then it was just, like, at the end, the neck-to-neck on Rygalon. Like, I think purely because of that, it was really fun, and then switching off who got the curses, I thought that made Sepulcher really fun.
Okay, I just want to propose one last thing, because I hope this is not the last time we're doing this. I hope we're going to do it again, and we're going to bring more guilds, and I just want to ask chat something for the next time. I would personally, this is my idea, Blizzard has nothing to do with this, we're going to make a team from volunteers of the chat, and we'll pitch them against the top 5 guilds, and if you would be willing to play in that team, just put a 1 in chat. That's the idea here. I think that would be a glorious event.
Yeah, it'd be like the Olympics, the idea of having like an average person running against the Olympic runners.
What do you mean? Chat isn't average. Stratnos so
sorry.
messed up.
Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
Well, specifically, Twitch chat is known for being the first guild to not only kill the last boss of every raid, but also the secret boss in every raid, even if there isn't a secret boss on Mythic. So they're pretty high pedigree players, Stratnos.
Yeah, and YouTube's chat power is as yet unknown, so we could even run a show match of those two chats against each other. See which was the better one. All right, well, I think that is about going to do it for us here at Xy'mox's Charity Cash. Big thank you to our 2 guilds, Echo and Liquid, and of course their leaders, Scripe and Max. Here you can see the full roster for Team Echo, with Scripe, the out-of-raid raid leader, and then all those other players. Very impressive lineup. They were, of course, supporting Direct Relief. Ended up raising $60,000 for that charity as a result of their incredible gameplay over the past 2 days. Team Liquid being led by Max, also raising a lot of money there, raising money for the AbleGamers charity, $40,000 heading over their way. Big thank you to the guilds and to the players for coming and doing this little event with us. A big thank you to the people who made this event possible over at Blizzard as well, people who had the idea, the production team as well, and of course to my fellow casters, Krista, Xyronic, Tettles, Nagura, and Makes, and to all of you at home for watching along. Stay tuned here to this channel for the solo shuffle coming in a few weeks, but that is going to be the end of Xy'mox's Charity Cash. Goodbye.